Fu Yanli returned to the car and only then noticed the missed calls and WeChat messages on his phone. He saw the message from Jiang Yao asking, "When will you arrive?" Fu Yanli replied, "Where are you? I'll come pick you up." There was no reply for a long time. He felt an inexplicable uneasiness in his heart. Fu Yanli called Qin Qin. "Where's my wife?" "President Fu, Madam didn't ask me to drive her. She probably went home. Since you didn't come, Madam seemed quite upset tonight. She asked me to tell you that she's preparing for a divorce." As for the Weibo post, before Qin Qin could finish, Fu Yanli hung up the phone and stepped on the gas, heading straight home. His face was tense, his slender hands gripping the steering wheel, the bulging veins betraying his emotions. Fu Yanli arrived downstairs half an hour before the agreed time, only to receive a call from Su Jinyu. "Yanli, I'm at the concert, it's intermission now. I feel really unwell, my heart is pounding. And I can't catch my breath. Can you come?" Fu Yanli fell silent. After all, today was his wedding anniversary with Jiang Yao. Su Jinyu noticed the man's hesitation and added, "Before my father left, he told me to seek your help. Now that is gone, if something happens to me, what will my mother do? I'm so scared. You'll take good care of me, won't you?" Su Jinyue's voice was choked with tears as she pleaded. After a long pause, she heard the man reply, "Wait." The driver in the front seat looked at Fu Yanli with a questioning expression. "Turn around," the man said hoarsely. This turn caused them to just miss the car Jiang Yao was in. After that, it was exactly as shown on Weibo. When Fu Yanli arrived, Su Jinyu happened to collapse during the curtain call. He carried Su Jinyu away and took her to the hospital. Chapter 9. 4 years later. After this incident, Jiang Yao decisively severed all ties with Fu Yanli. Not only did she block his phone number and WeChat, but she also completely cut off all contact with the Fu family. However, what Jiang Yao never anticipated was that even though she successfully cut off all contact with the outside world, she couldn't sever the deep bond tied to Fu Yanli, the one growing inside her womb. Yes, she was pregnant, and the child she carried was Fu Yanli's. Even more astonishing, she was actually carrying triplets. Holy crap, 3 at once. Yuan Jia widened her eyes. Staring at the pregnancy test results in Jiang Yao's hands, her face filled with disbelief. Jiang Yao clenched her teeth tightly and cursed indignantly. "Fu Yanli, you're really something else. Damn it." Jiang Yao felt somewhat helpless in the face of this unexpected situation. Yao, what are you planning to do? If you divorce Fu Yanli, you'll become a single mother raising 3 children all by yourself." Yuan Jia reminded her with deep concern. "We have to divorce, and as soon as possible. Last time, it was because he used his charm to soften my heart. This time, absolutely not. Otherwise, as my belly grows day by day, getting a divorce will likely become even harder," Jiang Yao stated with unwavering determination. Jiang Yao's once flat abdomen had begun to show a slight bulge due to her carrying triplets. She gently caressed her belly, thinking to herself, "Time is running out, there's no more room for delay." A WeChat message popped up. "Yao, come back." It was sent by her senior brother. Jiang Yao's eyes welled up with tears. Her senior must have seen what happened on Weibo. It was time to go back. Staying in City A, her pregnancy would eventually be discovered by the Fu family. Jiang Yao divorced Fu Yanli as quickly as possible, even offering to leave with nothing to speed up the process. The transfer of assets would take time, and she didn't want to linger in City A any longer. Leaving with nothing is the quickest way. As soon as the divorce was finalized, Jiang Yao bid farewell to her acquaintances and left City A, carrying the child in her womb. Jiang Yao ran away with 3 kids in tow. 4 years later, Jiang Xiaojing. "What have you done again?" Jiang Yao roared. "Where are the 3 million in my bank card?" Jiang Yao gave birth to 3 children. The eldest Jiang Jing, the second Jiang Shi, and the youngest Jiang Yu. Jiang Jing was sucking milk from a bottle with a calmness that didn't match his age. Hearing Jiang Yao's furious roar, Jiang Jing lazily lifted his eyelids. Spent, Jiang Ji walked over, her short and chubby body pressing against Jiang Yao's calf as she said in a childish voice, "Mommy, you should be an emotionally stable adult." Suppressing her temper, Jiang Yao asked, "Where did the money go?" "Sweetheart, bought stocks." Jiang Yao widened her eyes. "You bought all of them?" Jiang Jing nodded. "Yes, Mom." After finishing her milk, Jiang Jing handed the bottle to Jiang Yao. "Mom, I want more." Jiang Yao smiled. No more milk, sweetheart, let's all go drink the northwest wind together. Jiang Jing. Xie Zhongyun walked over holding the just awakened Jiang Yu. What nonsense are you talking about? There's a money-making opportunity right in front of you now. Jiang Yao didn't quite dare to believe her master. Master, don't trick me. Xie Zhongyun widened his eyes. Would I trick you? It's an old friend of mine who's in poor health. Go treat her. Her family is wealthy, and the reward for curing her won't be small. Master, your old friend is here. Why aren't you going? Don't meddle in your master's affairs. Since Yunshu isn't here, you go instead. Yunshu was her senior brother, the first disciple Xie Zhongyun had taken. Jiang Yao. Oh. Xie Zhongyun slightly furrowed his brows. But she's in City A. Xie Zhongyun didn't finish his sentence, but Jiang Yao already understood what he meant. City A. It's been so long since I last went back. Jiang Yao was momentarily lost in thought when Jiang Ji suddenly jumped up. Mom, I've never been to City A before. What's City A like? Jiang Jing pondered briefly. Big cities offer more opportunities. I'm sure I can earn much more money there. Jiang Jing's words snapped Jiang Yao out of her thoughts. Little Jing, you're obsessed with money. Jiang Yao reflected that they had never deprived the child of anything growing up. So how had Jiang Jing developed such a temperament? It must have been inherited from that money-grubbing scoundrel of a father. Leaning against Xie Zhongyun's shoulder, Jiang Yu murmured drowsily, Mom, I want to go too. All right, whatever my babies want. Jiang Yu was the youngest. When he was born, he was noticeably smaller than his older siblings. As he grew up, his temperament also became quieter compared to his brother and sister. So, Jiang Yao would feel more heartache for him. Jiang Yao smoothed out Yo-Yo's hair with her hand. He was born with curly hair, and now it was all messy from sleep. Only after finishing did she remember to say to Xie Zhongyun, But master, I'm out of money. All my money was squandered by Jiang Xiaojing. How are we supposed to manage food, clothing, housing, and transportation for our family of 4 in City A? Xie Zhongyun chose to turn a deaf ear. Jiang Ji gently tugged at Xie Zhongyun's sleeve, her big eyes blinking. Grandpa Xie surely wouldn't want to see Gigi end up on the streets, right? Xie Zhongyun picked up Jiang Ji with a loving expression. How could our little princess Gigi be without money to spend? Grandpa Xie will take care of it for you. With that, he picked up his phone and transferred a sum to Jiang Yao. Jiang Yao's phone dinged. The text message notifying her that 1 million had been deposited into her account. Grandpa Xie is the best. Jiang Jing pouted and stood up. If little Princess Gigi gets 1 million, doesn't little Prince Jingjing deserve to spend money too? Grandpa Xie is biased. His chubby face looked adorably fierce. Xie Zhongyun said with a pained heart, Fine, fine, here you go. After speaking, he was about to pick up his phone to transfer money to Jiang Yao, when Jiang Jing kindly reminded him, Grandpa Xie, Jingjing has his own card, no need to transfer it to Mom. Jiang Yao gave his head a firm rub. With your own mother, why be so particular? Even between mother and son, accounts should be clear. Mom is managing your money to prevent you from spending recklessly. All 3 children were treated equally. There was no reason to leave any one of them out. You should have one too. Xie Zhongyun transferred Jiang Yu's share to Jiang Yao as well. The kids all got theirs. Doesn't their mom deserve one too? I'm the one who's going to City A to treat other people. Xie Zhongyun helplessly transferred another sum. Page, you're just benefiting from their good fortune. Jiang Yao gleefully watched as 4 million appeared in her account. Pack up and get out of here. Xie Zhongyun urged them to leave. Jiang Yao immediately booked tickets back to City A. Planning to depart the next day, she quickly packed some essentials for the triplets, deciding to buy the rest after returning to City A. Chapter 10. The trendy pink-haired guy. We're here, we're here. Jiang Yu sat on the suitcase while Jiang Jing pushed him from behind. Jiang Yao held Jiang Ji's hand with one hand and pushed the suitcase with the other. The children arrived in a completely new environment. Their eyes filled with curiosity as they kept looking around. Just as I stepped out of the airport, I heard someone shout, Sweetheart. It turned out to be Yuan Jia waving at them. Seeing this, Jiang Yao immediately quickened her pace. Yuan Jia, beaming with joy, opened her arms wide, ready to embrace Jiang Yao. However, at that very moment, a dramatic scene unfolded. Jiang Yao raised her hand, but Yuan Jia suddenly hugged Yu, who was standing beside her. Jiang Yao let her hands drop helplessly. her face full of resignation, watching as Yuan Jia hugged and kissed each child in turn, murmuring, Yu, my darling, Gigi, my sweetheart, Jingjing, my precious, godmother has missed you all so much. When it was finally Jiang Yao's turn, Yuan Jia even praised, and our most beautiful Yao Yao, my darling. Come on, get in the car. I'm taking you all for some delicious food. Yuan Jia specially reserved a private room and said generously, everyone, order whatever you like, today. Your godmother is treating. Thank you, godmother. The three little ones replied in unison. Jiang Yao picked up the menu and said with a smile, then we won't hold back. Truffle fries, sea urchin and crab roe rice, filet mignon sandwich, bite-sized abalone puff, grilled pork ribs, mushroom burger, bread bowl, creamy seafood macaroni. Jiang Yao quickly checked off these dishes with swift strokes. Mom, we want cake too. Jiangxi has the biggest sweet tooth. Jiang Yao also ordered chocolate lava cake and ice cream. I'll let you indulge today, but you'll need to cut back after this. Great. While eating, Yuan Jia and Jiang Yao chatted. Where are you staying? Have you arranged it yet? Otherwise, you can stay at my place. It'll be a good chance for me to bond with my godson and goddaughter. No need, my master has already arranged everything for us. You can just take us there later. Alright, on the way, Jiang Yao got up to go to the restroom. As she walked along the corridor towards the private room, she suddenly heard a shout, Hey, sister-in-law. It was an all too familiar male voice. Jiang Yao's footsteps abruptly halted, but she didn't turn around. However, the voice called out again, Sister-in-law, sister-in-law. Then, the sound of footsteps grew closer, and a man quickly ran up to Jiang Yao. His name was Lu Zhenian, the youngest son of the Lu family, who had been doted on by the entire family since childhood. He had known Fu Yanli since they were children and was Fu Yanli's childhood friend. I knew I wasn't mistaken, sister-in-law, so you've already returned and are having a meal here, Lu Zhenian said with a beaming smile. Jiang Yao took a deep breath, forcing herself to maintain a smile as she replied, Yes. What a coincidence to meet you here. In truth, Jiang Yao didn't wish to encounter any familiar faces from her past, especially on her very first day back in the country. But as fate would have it, she ran into one against all odds. Lu Zhenian had a handsome face, with an especially radiant smile, and a streak of pink hair dyed on his head. Paired with his puppy-like appearance, it made him look even more youthful and energetic. However, he seemed completely unaware of Jiang Yao's discomfort and continued to enthusiastically invite her. Sister-in-law, Brother Fu is here too. Would you like to come in and sit with us? Before he could finish, Jiang Yao decisively interrupted. No need, thank you, and from now on, don't call me sister-in-law anymore. Alright, I got it, Lu Zhenian readily agreed. Jiang Yao pointed at Lu Zhenian's head and said, Nice hair color, very trendy. Sorry, I've got other things to do. So I'll head off first. Really, Lu Zhenian beamed with joy and pride, stroking his hair, his grin stretching from ear to ear. Haha, I knew it looked awesome. However, before Lu Zhenian could fully bask in his self-satisfaction, Jiang Yao had already turned and walked away. Watching Jiang Yao's retreating figure, Lu Zhenian remained lost in his delight, still stroking his hair with a silly smile plastered across his face. When he returned to the private room, Han Xiongyu blew out a smoke ring and teased, Hey, what's up with your hair? Did your scalp get itchy or something? Not at all, Lu Zhenian immediately retorted, his face beaming with pride. Sis-in-law just complimented my pink hair, said I looked stylish. With that, Lu Zhenian excitedly picked up his phone, turned on the front camera, and began admiring himself from different angles, lost in self-admiration. Am I really that handsome? See, sis-in-law gets me best. You guys just don't appreciate good taste. Then, Lu Zhenian carefully adjusted his hairstyle again. As if still not entirely satisfied with his earlier look, at this moment, Han Xiongyu let out a disdainful chuckle. Oh, where did this sister-in-law of yours come from? Did your brother get married? Hearing this, Lu Zhenian couldn't help but glance in Fu Yanli's direction. There, Fu Yanli was lounging casually in his seat, dressed in a perfectly tailored dark suit. With his sharp eyebrows and star-like eyes, he exuded an imposing aura. His chiseled features carrying a hint of aloofness and detachment. Brother Fu, your wife is back. I just ran into her in the hallway. Upon hearing this news, Fu Yanli's hand holding the wine glass suddenly paused, causing the red wine inside to ripple slightly, reflecting a few scattered glimmers of light. Lu Jianian seemed oblivious to Fu Yanli's unusual reaction and continued speaking on his own. Sis-in-law wouldn't let me call her that, probably because it felt too distant. But I'm just used to it. Han Xiongyu, who was nearby, stubbed out his cigarette and exhaled a puff of smoke before speaking slowly. Yeah, it's been almost 4 years since sis-in-law left City A. What did you two talk about just now? Lu Jianian raised an eyebrow slightly, a hint of pride flashing across his face. I spotted a familiar figure from afar and immediately recognized it was sis-in-law. I called out to her several times in a row. I think she must have just returned to City A recently. We didn't talk much. She just gave me a few simple compliments before hurrying off, but I have to say, after all this time, sis-in-law has become even more beautiful, and she gives off this incredibly gentle and intellectual vibe. Fu Yanli listened silently to Lu Jianian's words, but his heart was already in turmoil. He put down the wine glass in his hand, stood up, and walked toward the door, watching Fu Yanli's retreating figure. Han Xiongyu curled his lips slightly, teasing with a half-smile. TSK TSK TSK, look at someone so absent-minded, still stubbornly refusing to admit they're thinking about that person. Jiang Yao returned to the private room, when everyone had finished eating and was ready to leave. Jiang Yao said to Yuan Jia, Jia, you take them to the car first, I'll wait a little longer before joining you. Yuan Jia asked with some confusion, what's wrong, did something happen? I just ran into Lu Jianian. If Lu Jianian was here, then Fu Yanli must be here too, Yuan Jia said cheerfully. Alright, I'll take them to the car first. Come on, kids, follow your godmother. Jiang Yao wiped their mouths and said, be good and follow your godmother. Mommy will be right there. Got it, Mom. Before heading out, Yuan Jia cautiously put on a mask and sunglasses. Jiang Yao didn't even tell Fu Yanli when she was pregnant back then, now that the child is so big. She wants him and the Fu family to know even less. There's simply no need for it. If it can be kept hidden, then keep it hidden. Knowing would only make things more complicated. Jiang Yao sat in the private room for a few minutes before going out, not running into anyone she didn't want to see along the way. Jiang Yao let out a sigh of relief. Taking the elevator down to the underground parking lot, Jiang Yao was startled the moment she stepped out. Fu Yanli stood tall and slender. A cigarette in hand, his sleeves rolled up to his elbows, revealing a section of his arm where the faint outline of veins could be seen beneath his skin, exuding the aura of a mature man. Fu Yanli, are you out of your damn mind? Standing here like some door god, Jiang Yao snapped angrily. Fu Yanli stubbed out his cigarette. His eyes held emotions she couldn't decipher. You're back. Why didn't you say anything in advance? Jiang Yao averted her gaze. What's there to say to you? Her tone was icy. Early autumn nights still carried a chill. Jiang Yao wore a white off-shoulder sweater on top, paired with light-colored skinny jeans and nude high heels. The underground parking lot was already chilly, and with her shoulders exposed, Jiang Yao shivered from the cold. Fu Yanli made a move to take the suit jacket hanging over his elbow and drape it over her. Jiang Yao sidestepped, avoiding Fu Yanli's hand. Thank you, but I'm not cold, as if to punish her stubbornness. A cold wind blew. Jiang Yao's exposed skin broke out in goosebumps. In front of Fu Yanli, she resisted the urge to shiver. Fu Yanli scoffed. The only hard thing about you is your mouth. He casually draped his suit jacket over Jiang Yao and said nonchalantly, I don't have the habit of leaving my ex-wife to die without helping. A familiar scent enveloped her, fresh with a hint of tobacco. Though not unpleasant, President Fu is truly a great philanthropist. Warming the hearts of every woman around him, Jiang Yao remarked sarcastically, but I don't have the habit of staying entangled with my ex-husband. You can keep the jacket for yourself. What nonsense are you spouting? Fu Yanli frowned. Jiang Yao stuffed the coat back into Fu Yanli's hands and quickly turned to leave. She was mocking Fu Yanli and Su Jinyu, but unfortunately, someone didn't catch on. Only when she got back into the car did Jiang Yao finally let out a sigh of relief. Thankfully, she hadn't brought the child out with her. Yuan Jia asked, did you two run into each other? Yeah, Jiang Yao replied, looking utterly exhausted. Thank goodness they didn't see the children. As soon as Jiang Yao returned, Jiang Ji instinctively climbed onto her lap. Although they are triplets, The three little ones only share half the resemblance in their looks. Jiangxi looks more like a miniature version of Jiangyao. Jiangjing bears a striking resemblance to Fu Yanli. While Jiangyu's features perfectly blend the best of both, Jiangyao wasn't sure if Fu Yanli would suspect anything upon seeing the triplets, so it was better to stay hidden. Chapter 11, Daddy. Xie Zhongyun arranged accommodation for Jiangyao, a 385 square meter luxury flat. 1 unit per floor. Jiangyao walked around contentedly. The location, the decor, as far as she knew, money alone couldn't buy an apartment in this complex. Xie Zhongyun is truly her master. Jiangyao laid out the 2 suitcases and took out the toiletries, bathing the 3 little ones in turn. Jiangjing sat in the bathtub. Mom, how long are we going to stay here? Does Xiao Jing like it here? Jiangyao asked as she applied shower gel to Jiangjing. If Mom likes it, I like it. If Mom doesn't like it, I don't like it either. Jiangyao smiled. Jiangjing then asked, Mom, is my biological father in this city? Jiangyao paused her hand. Yes. Does Xiaojing want a dad? Jiangjing shook his head like a rattledrum. No way, I only want Mom. After bathing Jiangjing, Jiangyao dressed him in his little dinosaur pajamas. Then she proceeded to bathe Jiangyu and Jiangxi. After washing up, the little dinosaur, little bear, and little bunny snuggled together on the big bed. Mommy is going to take a shower now. You all wait here nicely for Mommy. Okay, the 3 little ones nodded obediently. After Jiangyao entered the bathroom, the 3 little heads huddled together. Listen to me, our dad must have done something wrong to Mom. We can't let him off easy, said the little dinosaur. The little rabbit had always followed her brother's lead since childhood. Big brother is right. We'll do whatever Big brother says. Then the 2 of them turned their gaze towards the silent little bear. The little bear looked at his brother and then at his sister before chiming in. Big brother is right. We'll do whatever Big brother says. Then what do you suggest we do? None of us have seen him before, and we don't even know what he looks like. The little dinosaur pondered. The little bear eagerly raised its hand. I have an idea. I know which company he works for. I saw it on my mom's computer before. A few minutes later, 3 heads huddled together in front of the laptop. Jiangjing and Jiangxi lay on either side of Jiangyu, peering over his shoulders. Jiangyu's short, chubby fingers slowly tapped on the keyboard. Finally, he pressed the enter key. What are you guys doing? Jiangyao asked as she came out drying her hair. She saw the 3 little ones huddled in front of the computer. Jiangxi hadn't yet learned to hide her emotions, her eyes darting left and right, not daring to look at her mother. When she glanced back at the computer, the screen had already changed to a game, with round eggs bouncing around the square. Jiangjing, being the older brother, had better composure and said without changing his expression, Mom, we're just playing a game. At the same time, all the computers at Fu Corporation's office suddenly went black. Hey, why did my computer screen go black? Did it crash? Everyone's screens went black. I was only halfway through my report. It better not be unrecoverable. After freezing for a few minutes, a loopy appeared on all the computer screens, its eyes squinting with a disdainful look. Senior technical staff urgently repaired the firewall and then reported the situation to Fu Yanli. Fu Yanli was holding an online meeting in his study. Can the IP be traced? We've traced it, President Fu. It's from Jingyuan. Fu Yanli raised an eyebrow. Bro, the other party is really bold. Isn't Jingyuan your current residence? This is a direct challenge to us, Fu Chuji said. Fu Chuji is Fu Yanli's cousin. A fun-loving guy who currently works as a manager at the Fu Corporation. His father wanted Fu Chuji to gain more experience by working under Fu Yanli. The technician continued to report. There wasn't any loss this time. It feels like the other party was just testing us. When we tried to trace their exact location, they suddenly vanished. It seemed more like they were toying with us. He hesitated slightly when he said the word, thinking how bold the other party was. Coming to Fu Corporation for a spin wasn't about anything else, just for fun. Keep a close eye on things recently, Fu Yanli said in a deep voice, and the instigator of this incident was currently sucking on a milk bottle in bed, listening to his mother tell a story. Jiang Yao's voice was soft and gentle. In 1742, in a letter to Euler, Goldbach proposed the following conjecture. Every integer greater than 2 can be written as the sum of 3 prime numbers, but Goldbach himself couldn't prove it. So he wrote to the famous mathematician Euler for help in proving it. As Jiang Yaro spoke, she grew increasingly weak, her eyes narrowing until she fell asleep. Sigh, Jiang Jing and the others were used to it. Every time, their mother would first lull herself to sleep. Jiang Jing covered her mother and younger sister with the blanket, while Jiang Yu turned off the light. Each of the four occupied their own space to sleep. The next day, Jiang Yao was still asleep when a phone call woke her up. Jiang Yao, irritated from being woken up, saw it was an unfamiliar number and suppressed her temper. "Who is this? Sorry to disturb you." His voice was gentle, with a slight upward inflection at the end. "I'm Song Wonchua. Grandpa Xie gave me your number. I believe Grandpa Xie has already told you about my grandmother's situation." Jiang Yao scratched her head, and hearing how polite he was, her irritation faded. "Yeah, I know, send me the address, and I'll head over soon." "No need. Just give me your address and I'll send someone to pick you up. I really appreciate your help with my grandmother." "Alright then." Jiang Yao recited her address. After hanging up, Jiang Yao first ordered takeout, then finished her own morning routine before waking up the three little ones. "Wake up, you little sleepyheads. Time to eat." The three little ones were still half asleep, looking both dazed and adorable. Jiang Yao had them eat their meal, then reminded them. "Mommy is going out to earn money, be good at home, and call me if anything happens. Should I ask your godmother to come keep you company?" "No need to trouble godmother. We'll be good. I'll take care of my younger siblings." Jiang Jing patted his chest. "Mommy, you should go now, earning money is important." Jiang Yao crouched down, and the three little ones each gave her a kiss on the cheek. "Then Mommy is off. I'll be back once I'm done." Chapter 12, Song Wench. After Jiang Yao went downstairs, a car was parked at the entrance of the residential area, a black Maybach, its color understated and restrained. As Jiang Yao stepped out, the driver's door happened to open. The man who emerged wore a grey wool sweater underneath a black long coat, which further accentuated his tall and slender figure. With a pair of gold-rimmed glasses perched on the bridge of his nose, he looked handsome and refined. "Hello, Miss Jiang." The man wore a polite smile at the corner of his lips and proactively extended his right hand toward Jiang Yao as a friendly gesture. Seeing this, Jiang Yao hesitated slightly before also extending her hand for a light shake, responding, "You recognize me, of course." The man nodded, replying with certainty, "We once crossed paths briefly at a banquet. Though the encounter was short, Miss Jiang left a deep impression on me. Please, get in the car first." With that, he turned and walked toward the car. Upon reaching the car, the man walked to the passenger side with gentlemanly grace, opened the door, and gestured for Jiang Yao to enter with a polite "Please, thank you," Jiang Yao said softly, then bent down to get into the car. After Jiang Yao settled in, the man closed the door, walked around the front of the car, and took his seat in the driver's position. "My grandmother's stomach condition has been troubling her for a long time." The man started the car while turning his head to glance at Jiang Yao beside him, then continued, "Previously, she had been seeing Western doctors abroad, but her condition kept fluctuating, sometimes better, sometimes worse, always recurring, so this time after returning to the country, I wanted to ask Grandpa Xie to take a look." I never expected that Miss Jiang would actually be Grandpa Xie's apprentice. What a coincidence. The man's voice was deep and magnetic, clear and smooth like a mountain spring flowing by, making one instinctively feel a sense of goodwill. Moreover, from his tone and demeanor, one could sense that his personality was likely quite gentle, giving people a comfort akin to the warmth of spring. Hearing the man's words, Jiang Yao felt somewhat puzzled. "Your grandmother, so you're Song Wench. Didn't you say you'd send someone to pick me up?" Faced with Jiang Yao's questioning, Song Wenchu smiled slightly and explained, "I thought coming to pick you up in person would show more sincerity. After all, Miss Jiang is Teacher Xie's prized student. We can't afford to be negligent." With that, Song Wenchu focused on driving, and the car moved forward smoothly. Before long, they arrived at their destination, a tranquil villa district. The location was relatively remote, not in the city center, but each villa maintained a certain distance from the others, ensuring excellent privacy. Song Wonchwa slowly drove the car into the courtyard of a French country-style villa and parked it. After getting out of the car, Jiang Yao surveyed the beautiful house before her. The entire villa was surrounded by lush greenery, And the garden was filled with a stunning array of colorful flowers. Clearly, the homeowner had put considerable effort into the layout and maintenance of the courtyard. As they walked, Song Wonchwa explained, "My grandmother prefers a quiet life and enjoys gardening in her spare time. Only Auntie Chen is there to take care of her." Song Wonchwa led Jiang Yao to a room. He knocked 3 times. Dong, dong, dong *. Before pushing the door open, "Grandma, look who's here." Jiang Yao followed him inside and saw Song Wonchwa's grandmother. She sat upright in a plush chair, her posture elegant, her meticulously pinned-up hair streaked with silver, and deep wrinkles already marking her face. Yet, it was still evident that she had been a beauty in her youth. Due to her illness, her face couldn't hide its paleness, and she was too thin, almost skin and bones. "This is Master Xie's apprentice, named Jiang Yao. She will be treating you from now on." Shun Qingshi's expression remained unreadable. She merely glanced at Jiang Yao before looking away. Song Wonchwa gave Jiang Yao an apologetic look, then sat beside Shun Qingshi, massaging her shoulders in a placating manner. "Grandma, don't be stubborn. If you don't cooperate with the doctor, how can you get better?" "How many medicines have I taken already? What's the use? It's just the same old cycle." Shun Qingshi moved aside, putting distance between herself and Song Wonchwa. "I'm not getting treated anymore." Song Wonchwa remained patient. "Grandma, this is Master Xie's apprentice. If you don't give her face, you're not giving Master Xie face either." "That's right, Grandma Shun. Just let me take a look. If I don't have the ability to cure you, you can complain to my master and have him scold me," Jiang Yao said softly, the curve of her lips adding a touch of sweetness to her demeanor. When Jiang Yao wore a cold expression, she was the epitome of striking beauty, visibly stunning. But when she smiled like this, it added a hint of charm to her whole being. Shun Qingshi still held herself aloof, slightly raising her chin. "Then let's consider it as giving Xie Zhongyun some face." Jiang Yao gently rolled up Shun Qingshi's sleeve, placed 2 fingers on her pulse, and then carefully examined her tongue coating. Afterward, she said, "Grandma Shun, you have a typical case of chronic atrophic gastritis with intestinal metaplasia. You probably experience symptoms like irritability, a bitter taste in the mouth, abdominal bloating, and insomnia with vivid dreams. Right, from a traditional Chinese medicine perspective, this is due to spleen and stomach deficiency, insufficient qi and yin, blood stasis obstructing the collaterals, and internal accumulation of heat toxins." Jiang Yao took out a piece of paper from the table and wrote down several medicinal herbs. Song Wonchwa took it and immediately sent someone to fetch the medicine. "Grandma Shun, please take this prescription for a few days first. Later, I'll adjust the medicine based on your condition. This illness can be treated, but it requires gradual recuperation. The most important thing is to maintain a cheerful mood in daily life." Shun Qingshi frowned, her expression displeased. Jiang Yao thought she was about to make things difficult. Shun Qingshi asked with a serious expression, "Is this medicine bitter?" Jiang Yao burst into laughter. "Not really, just a tiny bit more bitter than Coptis." Jiang Yao had figured it out. She was just a tsundere old lady. Shun Qingshi realized Jiang Yao was teasing her and pursed her lips in silence. Jiang Yao continued, "It's definitely bitter, but you must take it on time. 1 dose per day, after meals. Thank you for your trouble, Miss Jiang," Song Wench said. "Stay for dinner tonight." Jiang Yao hesitated, as she still had 3 little ones at home, "but it's really not convenient for me today." Song Wench didn't press further. "All right, I'll take you home now. No need to trouble Mr. Song. Someone else can take me home. It's quite a distance from here to my place. It took over an hour to get here earlier," Shun Qingshi said irritably. "What trouble? Let him drive. Whoever picked you up should take you back." Song Wonchwa's clear voice lifted slightly. "Indeed, my grandmother is right. Let's go." "All right then." Jiang Yao couldn't refuse any further. Song Wench drove the car while Jiang Yao sat in the passenger seat. As soon as they got in the car, Song Wench turned on the music. Perhaps he was worried the silence in the car would make Jiang Yao uncomfortable. "My grandmother has had a bit of a temper since she was young, with a proud streak in her bones. Now that she's ill, she's even more irritable with people she's not familiar with. But she's just cold on the outside and warm on the inside. You'll understand once you get to know her better." Song Wenchao still felt apologetic about how his grandmother had treated Jiang Yao earlier. Jiang Yao didn't mind. It was clear that Shen Qingxi was someone who cared about her appearance. For someone who loved beauty and took such care of her appearance to become gaunt and haggard due to illness, if it were Jiang Yao herself, she would feel miserable too. I can see that, and I don't mind. Jiang Yao changed the subject. Grandma Shen must really enjoy playing the piano. Jiang Yao had just noticed a piano in the room, which clearly showed signs of age. Yes. My grandmother has spent most of her life with the piano, and it's still the same now. Sometimes she skips meals, but she never misses a day of playing. That's why I returned to China, to keep an eye on her. She's like a stubborn child sometimes. Mr. Song, you'll need to keep a close watch on her. That medicine must be taken daily, and though it doesn't smell pleasant, it's best paired with some medicinal dishes. While the two of them were chatting, the three little ones at home were also having a lively conversation. Brother, I want to go out and play. Jiangxi wasn't satisfied with just building Legos at home. Jiang Jing didn't answer immediately. Instead, he turned to his younger brother and asked, Yu, do you want to go out and play? Jiang Yu twisted her little hands together, but Mom said to stay home and be good. Jiangxi pouted, I want to go out to eat something yummy. Eat. Want to eat yummy food? Jiang Yu licked her lips. Jiang Jing waved her small hand. You two go get your bags. Big brother will take you out. Chapter 13. How dare you secretly have a child behind our backs? Jiangxi and Jiang Yu put on their small backpacks, after Jiang Jing checked that they were wearing their watches properly. They headed out. These watches were custom ordered by Jiang Yao, one for each of the three of them. They come equipped with GPS tracking and emergency alerts, and are fully loaded with apps like WeChat. Jiangxi stood in the middle, holding her older brother's hand with her left and her younger brother's hand with her right. Brother, what are we eating? Jiangxi asked. Jiang Jing, now with money to spare, declared, let's pick the most expensive option. He tapped on his watch screen to select a restaurant. Yu reminded, brother, we can't go too far. Mom should be back soon. Little brother is right. Jiang Jing finally decided. This one it is, Mantingfang, expensive yet close. They took a taxi to their destination. Miss Waitress, please let us in. We have money. Jiang Jing's little face scrunched up pleadingly. The waitress was also in a dilemma. With such young customers, she worried something might go wrong. Yes, sister. We won't dine and dash. Jiang Yu's eyes were watery, softening the waitress's heart. Jiangxi hugged the waitress's arm. Sister, we'll be so well behaved. We just want to eat some food tilde. What's going on? Han Xiongyu curled his lips and drawled. As he entered, he saw three little kids pestering the waiter. Han Xiongyu was a regular here. Mr. Han, these kids want to eat, but they're really too young. Hearing this, Han Xiongyu instinctively lowered his gaze, his eyes landing on Jiang Jing, who only reached up to his knees. For some reason, he always felt that this child looked somewhat familiar. Han Xiongyu slowly crouched down, carefully examining Jiang Jing's face. Suddenly, a wave of surprise surged in his heart. This little one looked so much like Brother Fu. With great interest, Han Xiongyu asked, little ones, are you triplets? Jiang Jing nodded softly and replied, yes. Han Xiongyu smiled slightly, then waved his hand to signal the waiter not to bother with them anymore. Then, he stood up, effortlessly picked up Jiangxi, the only girl among the three children, and said gently, come on, uncle will take you to eat. However, a hint of vigilance flashed across Jiangxi's face. Although she felt this older brother didn't seem like a bad person, it was their first meeting, and she couldn't help but feel somewhat guarded. With that, Han Xiongyu led them all the way to a specially reserved private room. This room was usually reserved for their use only, and no other guests were allowed inside. As Han Xiongyu ushered the three children through the door, Lu Jianian jumped up and rushed over, exclaiming loudly, Han Xiongyu, how dare you secretly have children behind our backs? Han Xiongyu said with a mischievous grin. So, what do you think? Pretty impressive, huh? Triplets, stop bragging. These three kids don't look like you at all. How could someone like you deserve such adorable daughters? Lu Jianian stared skeptically at the three young faces, then stretched out his arms toward Jiangxi and said tenderly, come here, little one, let big brother give you a hug. Jiangxi was dressed in a soft yellow hoodie paired with loose light blue jeans, her glossy black hair casually tied into two playful ponytails. Her round, chubby little face was delicate and smooth, with features so exquisitely refined they seemed carved by hand. The whole of her looked soft, sweet, and utterly adorable, like a little angel come to life. Big brother will take you to eat lots and lots of yummy food, Lu Jianian continued enthusiastically, coaxing Jiangxi. Yet, faced with this overly enthusiastic older boy, Jiangxi seemed a bit scared and shy. She shrank back slightly, turning her tiny body away from Lu Jianian, making it clear she didn't want to engage with him. Don't be scared, little sister, I'm not a bad guy, just let me give you a hug. Lu Jianian didn't give up and continued to persistently try to get close to Jiangxi, but no matter how hard he tried, Jiangxi remained completely indifferent. Just then, the door suddenly swung open, and Fu Yanli walked in with graceful steps. When he saw the three little children in the room, he couldn't help but raise his eyebrows and asked in confusion, "Where did these little ones come from?" Han Xiongyu, seeing this, immediately answered honestly, "These three little rascals came running over on their own wanting to eat, but because they're too young, the waiters stopped them from entering. So I brought them in." Jiangxi looked at Fu Yanli, who had just entered, and actually stretched out both hands toward him. "What's this?" Fu Yanli raised an eyebrow. Lu Jianian complained indignantly, "What's this supposed to mean? Looking down on me, young Master Lu, I spent so long coaxing her just now and she wouldn't let me hold her. Yet the moment Brother Fu shows up, she actively asks to be held." Such blatant favoritism. Seeing that her outstretched hands received no response, Jiangxi flapped anxiously like a little fish, signaling Fu Yanli to pick her up. "I don't like children, and I've never held one before." Fu Yanli declined politely. Jiangxi lowered her hands and hung her head, looking utterly wronged. "Brother Fu, you're so heartless." Lu Jianian gave Fu Yanli a reproachful look. "Jiji, let your brother hold you." "Okay." Han Xiongyu scoffed disdainfully. Calling him uncle would be more appropriate. Fu Yanli swiftly moved to stand between Lu Jianian and Jiangxi without a word. "A hug is fine too," Fu Yanli said. He reached out his hand towards Jiangxi. Jiangxi had her little temper too. "She had offered to hug you earlier, but you refused. Now it's too late to want one." She lifted her chin with an air of pride, arms crossed, striking the perfect pose of a haughty little swan. It made Fu Yanli laugh. After waiting for Fu Yanli to extend his hand for a while, Jiangxi finally hugged him, then wrapped her arms around his neck. "Uncle is handsome. Jiji likes uncle." After saying this, Jiangxi shyly buried her face in his shoulder. "Well, Princess Jiangxi has a bit of a temper, but not much." The little girl's body was soft and cuddly, as if she had no bones at all, making Fu Yanli afraid to hug her too tightly, and he could smell the unique milky fragrance of the little girl, sweet and pleasant. Fu Yanli held her, feeling as if a certain part of his heart was suddenly filled. "Little sister, come down. You're not allowed to let him hold you anymore." Jiang Jing puffed up his cheeks in anger. Jiangxi always listened to her brother's words. She straightened up and asked, "Why, brother?" Jiang Jing reminded. "What did Jiji say yesterday?" Jiangxi thought carefully, her little scrunched-up bun face showing just how hard she was trying. Then she said, "Brother, don't be unreasonable. I said so many things yesterday." Jiang Yu added, "Jiji said yesterday that brother is the most handsome, and that I tie with brother for first place in handsomeness, because I hadn't met uncle yet yesterday. Today uncle is the handsomest." The little girl's eyes sparkled, her sincere and clear gaze reflecting Fu Yanli's image. Those eyes inexplicably reminded him of a woman. Her eyes used to shine just as brightly, but gradually that light dimmed, until it vanished completely. At this thought, Fu Yanli's smile faded slightly. "Little flatterer." Fu Yanli reached out and pinched Jiangxi's chubby little cheek. The sensation was pleasant, and Fu Yanli couldn't resist pinching it again. The motion was light and airy, more for show than an actual pinch. Having a daughter doesn't seem so bad after all. He suddenly felt a pang of jealousy toward the child's father. Chapter 14. Chance encounter. With a child present, no one smoked during the meal. Most of the dishes ordered were sweet and sour flavors that kids tend to love. Jiang Yaro places great emphasis on teaching children about hygiene and table manners, so all three kids ate very well behaved. They didn't make a mess everywhere. The three children were both adorable and well behaved. "No more." "Thank you, uncle." Jiang Yu looked at the bowl full of meat, all of which Han Xiongyu had served him. Only then did Han Xiongyu stop. "Eat more." Jiang Yu was clearly the youngest among them and spoke very little. Jiangxi had eaten her fill, and Jiang Jing handed her a glass of juice. Jiang Ji obediently drank it. We're full, uncles, it's time for us to go home. Thank you, uncles, for taking us out to eat. Jiang Jing walked up to Fu Yanli. Uncle, please show me your payment QR code. Fu Yanli curled his lips slightly. No need for you to pay, consider it my treat today. Jiang Jing shook his head earnestly. That won't do, we must pay. Let's split the bill, uncle. Don't worry, my brother is very wealthy. Jiang Ji said proudly, her brother is the best. Fu Yanli clicked his tongue. Fine then. It was quite novel. The first time splitting the bill with someone turned out to be with a kid. Jiang Jing transferred the money to him. Bye, handsome uncle. Jiang Ji waved at Fu Yanli. Where are you going? Are mom and dad coming to pick you up? Lu Zhenian asked. We'll go back on our own, Lu Zhenian said. That won't do, it's too unsafe. Fu Yanli picked up the coat from the back of the chair. I'll take you back. Jiang Jing was about to say something more when Fu Yanli calmly remarked, you overpaid. Fu Yanli was driving a supercar today, but because of the three little ones, it was the first time the supercar had ever been driven so slowly. Where do you live? Jiang Ji sat in the passenger seat. Jing Yuan. Do you know the way, handsome uncle? Uncle lives there too, that's such a coincidence. Handsome uncle, can Gigi come to play with you in the future? If uncle is at home, then yes, Fu Yanli lives in the same neighborhood as them, but not in the same building. Fu Yanli drove to the downstairs of their house. Jiang Jing opened WeChat on his watch. Uncle, let's exchange contacts. I'll scan your QR code. Children couldn't get a phone card yet, so Jiang Yao, who had 2 phone cards, used the spare one to register a WeChat account. The triplets shared it for easy communication. Fu Yanli opened his WeChat, and Jiang Jing scanned his QR code. Fu Yanli's WeChat name was simple, FYL. Jiang Jing's WeChat name was quite domineering, Invincible Tyrannosaurus. Goodbye, uncle. The 3 little ones politely bid farewell to Fu Yanli, then immediately ran back into the building. They had a feeling that mom would be back soon. Fu Yanli found it amusing to look at Jiang Jing's profile picture, which was a cartoon pig sticking out its tongue. Fu Yanli turned off his phone, placed his hands on the steering wheel, and was about to make a U-turn. A black Maybach stopped just a few meters ahead. A man stepped out from the driver's seat. Why is Song Wench here? But it's none of his business. Fu Yanli had already turned the steering wheel a full circle when he suddenly saw Song Wench quickly walk to the passenger side to open the door, and out stepped Jiang Yao. Fu Yanli slammed on the brakes, his sharp eyes narrowing. He watched as Jiang Yao stopped in front of Song Wench. Jiang Yao was even smiling, and the two seemed to be having a pleasant conversation. Thank you for bringing me back. I'll head up now, Jiang Yao said politely. It's the least I could do, if anything. I should be the one thanking you. Goodbye then. Jiang Yao turned and walked inside. Song Wench called out to her. Wait, let's add each other on WeChat so we can stay in touch later. Okay. Song Wench opened his QR code, about to scan it, when a large, well-defined hand blocked the way. Jiang Yao looked up, meeting Fu Yanli's inscrutable gaze. Song Wenchua smirked slightly. What are you doing, Mr. Fu? Jiang Yao slapped Fu Yanli's hand away with a sharp smack. What do you think you're doing? Even if you're looking for a second chance at love, I won't allow you to be with such a refined scoundrel, Fu Yanli said, his voice hoarse. Song Wench wore a mocking expression. What, Mr. Fu, are you even interfering with your ex-wife's social life now? I never realized your possessiveness was this strong. Jiang Yao ignored Fu Yanli and reopened her phone to scan Song Wench's QR code, seeing that the connection was successful. Song Wench tactfully took his leave. I won't disturb you any further, we'll keep in touch via WeChat. A faint smile played on Song Wench's lips, his eyes glimmering with subtle amusement. Jiang Yao felt that Song Wenjia was truly a man with a keen sense of propriety. His departure, in fact, made her feel less embarrassed. She smiled apologetically at Song Wenjia. Song Wenjia turned and left, having somewhat deceived Jiang Yao. It wasn't the first time he had seen her at a banquet. It was only because she was Fu Yanli's wife, so Song Wench knew about her. After Song Wench left, the smile on Jiang Yao's face vanished, and she said coldly, Why are you here? Don't tell me you're following me. Fu Yanli watched as Jiang Yao's expression changed like flipping a page. I don't have the time to follow you. I live here. Jiang Yao had just relaxed at his first words. But when she heard him say he lived there, her tension rose again. living in the same neighborhood, it would be troublesome if the child were seen by chance. How come you're living here now? Didn't you used to live? I have several properties and switch between them. Fu Yanli coughed lightly. You left in such a hurry last time and left many things behind. You should go retrieve them when you have time. No need, just throw them all away. Fu Yanli's tone was icy. I have no right to dispose of your things. If you want to throw them away, do it yourself. Anyway, you don't live there anymore, so just leave the stuff there. I don't want to set foot in that house again. Jiang Yaro said impatiently. You don't want to set foot in that house. But you seem quite comfortable sitting in Song Wonja's passenger seat. Fu Yanli's gaze turned cold. Take me out of your blacklist, in your dreams, Jiang Yao retorted, rolling her eyes at him before turning and stomping away, leaving Fu Yanli standing alone in place. The triplets had already returned home. By the time Jiang Yao got back, they were already playing with toys on the sofa. Sweethearts, are you hungry? Jiang Yao entered the door, and seeing the three children instantly put her heart at ease. The three little turnips exchanged glances with each other. Why aren't you talking? Jiang Yao approached. Mommy, not hungry. Jiang Yao found it strange. Children usually get hungry quickly. They can eat several meals a day. How can you not be hungry? Did you just have a snack? The three little rascals grew even more guilty, hanging their heads low. Jiang Yao understood at a glance. Did you do something bad? Confess honestly. Jiang Jing and Jiang Ji simultaneously turned their gaze toward their youngest brother. Yu. Jiang Yu crawled over to Jiang Yao, hugged her, and planted a kiss on each of her cheeks. Seeing Jiang Yao's expression was still okay, she spoke up. Mom, we sneaked out to eat. Jiang Jing immediately added, Mom, we were wrong. We won't do it again. Mom. Jiang Ji's big eyes were watery, as if she would burst into tears the moment Jiang Yao scolded her. These three little drama queens. Jiang Yao's anger was completely gone. Mom isn't stopping you from going out, but you're still so young, and I'm really afraid something might happen to you. Jiang Jing leaned against Jiang Yao. We're very careful, Mom. Please don't be angry. After a long silence, Jiang Yao finally spoke. Mom is also at fault. I'm raising you alone while juggling work, so I can't be with you every day. Children are always playful. If I had spent enough time with them, they wouldn't have had to sneak out. Not until returning to City A did I realize it. In previous years, there were still my master and senior brothers helping to take care of the child. Only after coming back to City A and encountering Fu Yanli these past few days did I truly feel how much the child has grown up without a father's presence. While half of my energy still has to be devoted to work, Jiang Ji shook her head repeatedly. Mommy did nothing wrong. We're already the happiest kids. Jiang Yao affectionately kissed her three little darlings on their foreheads. My babies are really so well behaved. Chapter 15. Suspicions about sexual orientation. In the following days when she had time, Jiang Yao took the three little ones to the Jiang family home. Her brother Jiang Yuji personally came to pick up Jiang Yao. Jiang Yu affectionately ruffled Jiang Yao's hair. You little heartless thing. Didn't even come home first after returning. Wasn't I waiting for you to come pick me up? Jiang Yao dodged his hand. 4 years before coming back. How long are you planning to stay this time? Jiang Yao pondered for a moment. Not sure yet. We'll see. This response was within Jiang Yuji's expectations. He nodded and said, Alright, then let me spend more time with my nephew and niece when I'm in City A. Jiang Yao said disdainfully. You can take them all away if you want. Come on, all of you, follow Uncle home. Jiang Yuji squatted down. Which little cutie wants Uncle to carry them? Me. Jiang Ji threw herself into Jiang Yuji's arms. Jiang Yuji gave her a big hug. Gigi is so adorable. You look just like your mom did when she was little. Jiang Yao was holding hands with two little boys. Jiang Yuji carried Gigi to the car and opened the door. Your carriage awaits, princess. Jiang Ji burst into laughter. After all three children had climbed into the back seat, Jiang Yuji opened the front passenger door. This way, your highness, master of balance, Jiang Yao remarked. Jiang Yuji didn't argue. Gently closing the car door, Jiang Yao sat bored in the front passenger seat. Order whatever you want to hear. Jiang Yuji knew her well. Jiang Yao browsed through the playlist and randomly picked a song in the end. Hey, Jiang Yuji, what's this? Jiang Yao bent down and picked up a black hair tie. Jiang Yuji glanced at it out of the corner of his eye and cleared his throat lightly. I must have dropped it by accident. Who are you trying to fool? Jiang Yao smirked at him with a teasing look. Your sister isn't stupid. Bro, do I have a sister-in-law now? Then I'll have an aunt. Jiang Jing reacted quickly. Not yet, Jiang Yuji corrected. Come on, bro, don't tell me you haven't won her over yet. Jiang Yao's curiosity was piqued. My brother is so handsome. How could there be someone you can't chase down? Jiang Yuji smiled helplessly. If I catch up, I'll definitely tell you first. Okay, alright, I'll be waiting. Jiang Yu suddenly said softly. Godmother has this hair tie too. Jiang Yuji's hand unconsciously tightened on the steering wheel. Is that so? Jiang Yao carefully examined the hair tie. It was a very ordinary black one, the kind many girls probably own. Must be a coincidence. We're home, Jiang Yuji said. Jiang Yao didn't dwell on it further and got out of the car. Jiang Yuji picked up Gigi again, while Jiang Jing, a typical extrovert who wasn't the least bit shy, led his introverted younger brother straight into the villa. Jiang Jing saw Shalan and immediately called out, Grandma. Yu also followed suit. Shalan looked pleasantly surprised. Oh, so this is little Jing, and the little one is Yu. Right, Jiang Yu nodded. You're so good, such a sweet child. Jiang Yao, who had just entered, called out, Mom, Yaro is here. Hurry up and wash your hands. It's time to eat. At the dining table, Jiang Qiancheng sat at the head, his face full of kindness. While both he and Shalan kept serving dishes to the triplets, especially Shalan, who adored Gigi at first sight. She simply adored little girls. Gigi was not only adorable but also inherited her parents' good looks. Jiang Yao couldn't stand it anymore. Dad, Mom, stop serving them food. You should eat too. They can't possibly finish all that. Jiang Qiancheng pretended to sulk. What's it to you if I serve my grandchildren? Besides, it's been ages since you brought them home. Jiang Yao knew she was in the wrong and fell silent. Yuji, look how big your nephew and niece have grown. Shalan hinted subtly. Jiang Yuji pretended not to understand. Shalan was exasperated. When will you have children of your own? In a couple of days, Jiang Yuji answered vaguely. Every time we talk about this, you never take it seriously. We've lowered our expectations. Just bring a girl home this year. Okay, if that's really impossible, bringing a guy home would do too. Jiang Yuji choked on his food, unable to swallow. Jiang Yao burst into laughter. Bro, that's not too much to ask, is it? Jiang Yuji helplessly rubbed his temples. Mom, you're being way too open-minded. Anyway, you have to bring one home. Shalan fretted inwardly. Her eldest son was already pushing 30, and as far as she knew, there wasn't a single member of the opposite sex around him. She even began to suspect her son's sexual orientation. Mom, my orientation is normal, Jiang Yuji emphasized. At least for now, that's the case. Jiang Yao gave a thumbs up. Bro, you're so meticulous. Shalan ignored him. What's the use of having a normal sexual orientation? It's been so long without a girlfriend. Look at your peers. Aren't they all surrounded by women? When I go out with my friends, they all ask about you. Wondering if my son actually likes men. If not, they say they'll introduce their daughters to you. Mom, this is called keeping myself pure. Jiang Yao. Bro, sometimes you don't need to be that pure. Jiang Yuji placed several large pieces of meat in Jiang Yao's bowl. To shut you up, Grandma, what does clean and self-respecting mean? Jiang Ji asked with her mouth full of a meatball, her voice muffled. It means loving cleanliness. Our Gigi has such a good appetite. After the meal, Jiang Qiancheng gave each of the triplets a big red envelope, then had their uncle Jiang Yuzi take them out to play. Shalan and Jiang Yao sat chatting casually. Shalan asked, Yao, are you keeping the matter of the child from Yang Li? Though phrased as a question, Shalan's tone already carried a note of certainty. Mom, I don't want him to know, Jiang Yao replied bluntly. It must be very hard for you to go through pregnancy and raise a child all by yourself. Shalan, being a mother herself, naturally understood the hardships involved. Jiang Yao remained firm. Oh, Mom, I've already made it through the toughest 10 months of carrying triplets. Now that the babies are growing up, they'll only become more understanding. I didn't even let Fu Yanli know during the hardest times. So there's even less reason to involve him now. Alright, then we'll do as you say. Shalan stroked Jiang Yao's silky hair. Our Yao is so beautiful. Having children hasn't changed you at all. In fact, you've become even more stunning. Just wait, I'll immediately compile a list of eligible bachelors in City A for you. Jiang Yao didn't understand how the conversation had suddenly taken this turn. She was stunned for a moment, too caught off guard to even voice her refusal. Shalan immediately pulled out her phone, opened the green app, and prepared to thoroughly screen through her network of sisters with utmost seriousness. She even said to Jiang Yao, if not for anything else, at least for the sake of the kids, find a stepdad for the triplets to help you take care of them. Jiang Yao knew Shalan was impulsive and wouldn't listen to advice. Spoiled by her family before marriage and doted on by her husband after. Let her be. She just added one instruction. He has to be handsome. Trust your mom's taste. Shalan said with an air of complete confidence. Look, I found your dad myself. Mom knows. Only someone handsome is worthy of our Yao Yao. Chapter 16. Blind date. Jiang Yao didn't take the matter too seriously, but she had no idea just how much free time a middle-aged woman who stayed at home all day, with nothing to do but think about how to spend money, could possibly have. Especially when it comes to such matters, they often display an extraordinary level of enthusiasm. It was just on a certain afternoon. My precious daughter, open your eyes wide and take a look. This is the husband candidate your mom has painstakingly selected for you, Tilda. Shalan triumphantly opened the laptop she had specially brought along, deftly tapping away at the keyboard with her fingers. Jiang Yao never dreamed that her mother would actually create a PowerPoint presentation. Shalan enthusiastically began her introduction. First up, this is the eldest son of the GU family. He's a full 185 centimeters tall with a healthy physique. Plus, with that thick head of hair, there's absolutely no risk of balding in the future. Most importantly, he doesn't smoke and has no bad habits whatsoever. Next, this is the youngest son of the Zhong family. Although slightly shorter at 183 centimeters, he's a sunny, puppy-like guy who absolutely loves working out. Just look at those solid 8-pack abs. Wow, and he's younger than you, so it's a bit of a reverse age gap romance. Feels pretty good, doesn't it? Under her mother's intense gaze, Jiang Yao had nowhere to escape. She could only brace herself and endure the entire PowerPoint presentation. Noticing Jiang Yao's reluctance to cooperate, Shalan said warily, "You're not still hung up on your ex-husband, are you? Sure, he's handsome. And you were devoted to marrying him. But look how that turned out. Good looks don't put food on the table." Jiang Yao immediately cut her off. Mom, stop right there. It has nothing to do with him. I'm not thinking about him. Then please respect my hard work. This PowerPoint is something your dear mother made by skipping a charity dinner, a mahjong game, and a hair perm session. Jiang Yao fell silent. My daughter is grown up now and has her own ideas. I guess I was meddling in her affairs, Shalan said with a plaintive tone, one hand clutching her chest in a gesture of heartache, a mix of soft and hard tactics, Shalan's most frequently used trick. All right, I'll go, Jiang Yao replied, her head aching from the conversation. If she didn't give in this time, who knew when Mrs. She would bring it up again the next time she was in a bad mood. Let's get this over with right after this meeting. Shalan immediately smiled upon hearing her agreement. Then this time, I'll arrange for you to meet 3 of them. If none of them catch your eye, Mom will set up another blind date for you next time. Shalan closed her notebook and picked up her bag. Yao, Mom needs to go find your brother now. I'm not a biased mother. In my eyes, sons and daughters are treated the same. Whatever you have, Jiang Yuji will get his share too. Alright, off I go, my dear daughter. Jiang Yao silently sympathized with her brother in her heart. Hurry up and go, Mom. Remember to dress nicely tomorrow. Put in a little effort. I'll let you know once I've confirmed the time, Shalan reminded. Jiang Yao posted on her social media, guess who's going on a blind date, folks. Yuan Jia sent a question mark in response. Then the phone immediately rang. Sweetie, what's going on? My mom set me up on a blind date. I'm meeting them tomorrow. Ha 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 ha. Yuan Jia gloated with schadenfreude. Best friends never miss a chance to laugh at each other's misfortunes. My brother got dragged into a blind date by our mom too. Thinking about it this way makes me feel better. At least I'm not suffering alone. The unrestrained laughter suddenly stopped. Really, that's great. Jiang Yao had already planned it out. I'll just go take a look, fulfill my mom's task, and then find an excuse to turn it down later. Before, the child was young, And now that you're finally back in City A, I can help you take care of the kid. You should go out and meet more people. Nourish yourself properly. Jiang Yao couldn't take it anymore. You big pervert. Shut up, Brother Fu. Brother Fu. Lu Jianian couldn't wait to call out even before entering Fu Yanli's office. Fu Yanli gave him a casual glance. You'd better have something important, Brother Fu. It's not me who has something. It's you. Fu Yanli was puzzled. What could possibly be the matter with me? Bro, haven't you seen my sister-in-law's WeChat moments? Jiang Yao only blocked Fu Yanli. Everyone else could still see her WeChat moments, but Lu Jianian didn't know that Jiang Yao had blocked his Fu brother on WeChat. After all, Fu Yanli wouldn't be so bored as to tell his buddy, "Hey, I got blocked by my ex-wife." Lu Jianian widened his eyes, carefully observing Fu Yanli. Judging by Brother Fu's expression, he seemed unaware. Fu Yanli coughed lightly and averted his gaze. Too busy, didn't have time to look. Lu Jianian nodded in understanding. Brother Fu was indeed busy. Hardly able to browse as frequently as he did, scrolling dozens of times a day. Oh, Brother Fu, do you know what I saw in sister-in-law's WeChat moments? Lu Jianian teased, keeping him in suspense. What? Fu Yanli asked instinctively, the words almost slipping out. He had been blocked by Jiang Yao for 5 years. How would he know what she posted in her moments? Fu Yanli snapped back to reality, picking up the documents on the desk and flipping them open. If you're not going to say it, then get out. He flipped through the documents with a serious expression, occasionally furrowing his brows as if spotting errors, seemingly genuinely uninterested in what Lu Jianian had mentioned. Lu Jianian was itching with impatience. His brother Fu truly didn't care. Do you have anything else? Fu Yanli looked up at him, his gaze clear and composed. This time, it was Lu Jianian who couldn't sit still. He sprang up from his chair in an instant. Brother Fu. Your wife. She's going on a blind date. A blind date. Finally, he deliberately emphasized his tone. Fu Yanli's eyes flickered. Is that so? Brother Fu, aren't you worried at all? What if sister-in-law actually takes a liking to someone during the blind date? Fu Yanli remained expressionless. I don't see any need for concern. Firstly, she's a mature adult who wouldn't act on impulse. Secondly, she's my ex-wife, which places this beyond my scope of worry. More importantly, with me as her ex-husband, I have faith in her taste in men. Her tastes have become quite refined, having tasted the finest grains. Fu Yanli believed that ordinary people wouldn't catch her eye. Lu Jianian was stunned by what he heard and finally said, Brother Fu, you're just being stubborn. You'll regret it later. Sister-in-law is so beautiful. If she meets a younger, more charming guy who knows how to sweet-talk women, who's to say she won't be tempted? Fu Yanli remained in the same posture, as if he hadn't heard a word Lu Jianian said. After Lu Jianian left, Fu Yanli finally set down the documents. His narrow eyes lowered slightly, dark and unfathomable, like ink that couldn't be diluted. He called for his assistant, Qin Qin. Qin Qin quickly arrived at the CEO's office. President Fu, what are your orders? Fu Yanli said a few words, and Qin Qin agreed. Chapter 17. Meeting Song Wench. Shalan meticulously planned this blind date, arranging for Jiang Yao and Jiang Yuji to meet at the same restaurant. Not only that, she took the initiative to take care of the triplets, allowing Jiang Yao to attend the blind date with peace of mind. Jiang Yao didn't put much effort into dressing up, merely applying a light layer of lipstick and wearing a simple yet comfortable coat. Despite her bare face, her stunning features still radiated breathtaking charm. The siblings arrived at the restaurant as instructed by Shalan. This establishment was unique, an elegant private kitchen that placed great emphasis on protecting customers' privacy. Upon entering the restaurant, Jiang Yao and Jiang Yuji were guided by the waiter to their respective private rooms. As Jiang Yao stepped into the room, she noticed a man already seated inside. Seeing Jiang Yao arrive, the man quickly stood up and extended his right hand with a smile. You must be Aunt Sha's daughter. I've heard so much about you. The man was handsome and elegant in demeanor, with a warm smile constantly gracing his face. Faced with such a courteous gentleman, Jiang Yao naturally didn't want to be impolite either. She gracefully extended her hand for a light handshake and responded, Hello, my name is Jiang Cheng, Miss Jiang. You're even more beautiful in person than in photos. Thank you for the compliment. Jiang Yao replied politely, then took a deep breath and decided to speak her mind frankly. I'm very sorry, Mr. Jiang, but I truly haven't considered marriage at the moment, so I don't want to waste your precious time. Jiang Cheng smiled faintly, exuding a gentle and magnanimous demeanor, and said, Miss Jiang is very sincere. In truth, my family elders are indeed quite anxious about my marital prospects. But since our perspectives don't align, let's not waste each other's time. A twinge of guilt welled up in Jiang Yao's heart as she softly replied, I'm truly sorry, Mr. Jiang, no need to worry. It's really nothing. Jiang Cheng responded with great generosity, showing understanding of Jiang Yao's position. Then I shall take my leave first. With that, Jiang Cheng turned to depart. All right, take care on your way. Jiang Yao watched his retreating figure and let out a soft sigh. However, unexpectedly, just as Jiang Cheng stepped out the door, Jiang Yao's phone suddenly rang. She looked and saw that it was actually a call from her mother, Mrs. Shi, as soon as she answered. Before Jiang Yao could even speak, Mrs. Shi eagerly asked, Yao, what on earth happened? How did it end so quickly? Don't tell me you scared him off. Jiang Yao was utterly astonished. She instinctively glanced around and asked in bewilderment, Mom, did you install surveillance here? How else could you know so clearly? Shi Lan replied with a hint of pride in her voice, laughing, Your mother naturally has her ways. I arranged for someone to keep an eye on things nearby. Alright, if you're not satisfied with this one, Mom will arrange the next for you, Shi Lan said while on the phone, simultaneously having dinner with the triplets. Jiang Yao could even hear Gigi shouting for a big chicken drumstick in the background. Shi Lan placed the phone on the table and first served her beloved grandchildren. Alright, big chicken drumsticks. Here, Grandma will give each of you one. After a while, probably having finished clipping, Jiang Yao heard her say, Don't leave, just wait there, the second contestant should be coming soon. The call was quickly hung up. Jiang Yao put down her phone and heard the three little ones eating on the other end. She also started to feel a bit hungry. She called the waiter and ordered a large table full of dishes. After all the dishes were served, the second contestant mentioned by Ms. Shi still hadn't arrived. Jiang Yao didn't wait any longer and picked up her chopsticks to start eating. Men shouldn't interfere with her mealtime. Pepper salt crab claws, traditional Buddha jumps over the wall, crisper-skinned char siu buns with hawthorn, thyme-infused juicy squab, lemon shrimp, yellow pepper beef brisket. Jiang Yao took bite after bite, her mouth never idle. It wasn't until she was half full that someone finally arrived. Jiang Yao looked up, her eyes filled with confusion as she saw the newcomer. Mr. Song, why is it you? Song Wenche seemed equally surprised to encounter Jiang Yao, his astonishment barely concealed. What a coincidence, I didn't expect to meet Miss Jiang here. You must have been forced to come by your family too, right? Jiang Yao understood completely. Song Wenche's eyes revealed helplessness. Yeah, my mom said she arranged a blind date for me and insisted I come meet you. She even threatened me if I didn't show up. Same here, I couldn't refuse the elders, so I came, Jiang Yao said, glancing at the half-eaten dishes in front of her with slight embarrassment. Why don't you order some more dishes you like? Alright, Song Wenche complied as suggested. The two ate their meal in a harmonious atmosphere. Jiang Yao was quite relieved that the person who came was Song Wenche. Going on a blind date with Song Wenche was far better than with a complete stranger. After finishing the meal, Jiang Yao said, Alright, mission accomplished, we can go home and deal with our parents now. When your mother asks, just say our personalities don't match. Song Wenche pondered for a moment. But wouldn't that mean there'll be another blind date, Mr. Song means? Jiang Yao had a guess in her heart. She roughly knew what Song Wenche was about to say next. We can help each other out by pretending to be a couple. That way our families won't arrange new blind dates for us. Jiang Yao pondered for a moment, then joked, Then Mr. Song and I will be good comrades in arms. This was her agreement to the solution proposed by Song Wenche. Then I'll take you home, so your mother will believe it more, and don't call me Mr. Song anymore. Just call me by my name. Jiang Yao nodded. Okay. The two walked out, passing through the long corridor. At the corner, they unexpectedly bumped into two people. Miss Jiang. What a coincidence to run into you here. Su Jinyu was dressed in a well-tailored, modernized cheongsam, her features gentle and elegant. Fu Yanli stood tall and poised beside her. Jiang Yao didn't respond. She couldn't even be bothered to pretend, even though she had now let go of Fu Yanli. It didn't mean she could forget how, on their wedding anniversary 4 years ago, her husband had stood her up to be by another woman's side. So she couldn't bring herself to show a pleasant expression to either Su Jinyu or Fu Yanli. Her face remained indifferent, with slightly upturned eyes that carried a hint of aggression. Su Jinyu, however, seemed completely oblivious. Glancing at Song Wonja beside Jiang Yao, she smiled sweetly and asked, "Ms. Jiang, are you here on a date with your boyfriend?" Jiang Yao's features softened slightly as she naturally linked arms with Song Wonja. "Yes," she replied. Song Wonja played along, saying, "Mr. Fu must be here with his girlfriend too." Su Jinyu seemed slightly embarrassed, lowering her head with a faint smile. Fu Yanli's eyes darkened slightly as he suppressed the emotions in his gaze, pressing his tongue against his cheek. He let out a low chuckle and locked eyes with Jiang Yao. "Found someone new so quickly?" Jiang Yao met his gaze openly. "Compared to you, Mr. Fu, I wouldn't call this fast at all." With that, she turned away from him and gave Song Wenchen a radiant smile. "Let's go, Wenchen." "All right." Song Wenchen wrapped his arm around her shoulders and walked past the two of them toward the door. "Yanli, should I go explain? We just happened to run into each other here. Miss Jiang seems to have misunderstood our relationship." Su Jinyue's eyes were filled with guilt. Fu Yanli's expression remained indifferent. "No need, she's just my ex-wife." After saying that, Fu Yanli turned and walked in another direction. Su Jinyue's face showed a hint of disappointment, but in an instant, she smiled again. "Just an ex-wife." Su Jinyu muttered these words to herself. "Take it slow, there will always be opportunities. As long as Fu Yanli doesn't reconcile with Jiang Yao, it will eventually be Su Jinyu's turn." Song Wenchao walked to a place where Fu Yanli and Su Jinyu couldn't see them before letting go. "I was presumptuous just now, my apologies." "It's fine. I should be thanking you instead." If Song Wenchao hadn't been there, Su Jinyu would have inwardly mocked her endlessly. Standing beside Fu Yanli, she always felt like she was the victor, acting all pure and kind. But in reality, she's just a little white flower. Fu Yanli is practically blind. Meanwhile, in a private room, Jiang Yuji's large hand tightly gripped the woman's waist. "Running away? Didn't you come to watch me on a blind date?" "Indeed, I've seen enough. You can let go now." "Young Master Jiang," the woman admitted without hesitation. "Heh, now it's young Master Jiang. The night before last, you were calling me husband in bed," Jiang Yuji said sarcastically. The woman tossed her hair. "Just pillow talk, young Master Jiang. Surely you didn't take it seriously. A woman's words in bed aren't to be trusted. So what are you here for today? Don't want me to go on a blind date?" "Her." Jiang Yuji leaned close to the woman's ear, his warm breath brushing against her neck. "Then come home with me now. Let's get married." "Okay, dream on," the woman snapped angrily. Jiang Yuji's eyes were bloodshot. "What exactly do I mean to you? When we got together, you said we shouldn't go public yet." "Fine, I listened to you. I didn't even tell my sister. It's been a year already. I can't wait any longer." The woman remained silent. Jiang Yuji sealed her lips with his own. The woman struggled in vain to break free. "You bastard." Chapter 18. My beloved Yao's happiness again. After driving Jiang Yao to the Jiang family's doorstep, Song Wenchu departed. Inside the house, Shalan watched this entire scene unfold from behind the window. Due to the distance, one could only vaguely make out that the man was tall and handsome. Shalan was quite pleased with this, thinking to herself how quickly things had progressed. As soon as Jiang Yao stepped through the door, 3 adorable little ones came running like small cannonballs, tightly hugging her legs while continuously calling out, "Mommy, Mommy." Shalan followed in a moment later, smiling as she asked, Yao, what do you think of him?" "Not bad, right, Jiang Yao responded vaguely. "Mom, let's just choose him then. Don't introduce me to anyone else anymore." All right. Shalan readily agreed, then muttered to herself, "I wonder how your brother's blind date is going." With that, Shalan turned and headed into the kitchen to start preparing dinner. After the family finished their meal, Jiang Yao took the triplets and returned to Jingyuan. "Mom, Grandma said you went on a blind date." The children blinked their big, curious eyes and looked up at Jiang Yao. She didn't even understand what a blind date meant. With a child's simple mind, she just saw how Grandma's eyes crinkled with laughter when mentioning it. So it must be a good thing, right, sweetie? Why does Grandma tell you everything? Because Gigi is the smartest baby. Jiangji grinned, her eyes narrowing into happy crescents. Going on a blind date means we're finding a dad for us, right, Mom? Jiang Jing said with a grown-up air. Xiao Jing, here. Gigi, here. Yu, here. This was a little unspoken understanding between Jiang Yao and the three little ones. Whenever Jiang Yao acted this way, the kids knew their mom was about to say something important, and they needed to listen carefully. Jiang Yao asked earnestly, "Would you be unhappy if mommy found you a dad?" She felt that although the children were still young, they already understood many things and had many emotions, so when it came to family matters, she would listen to the opinions of the three little ones. The four of them were a family. Jiang Ji's little bun-like face scrunched up as if pondering something very difficult. Jiang Yao kissed her on the forehead and asked gently, "What's wrong, Gigi? Don't you like daddy?" Jiang Ji looked up with teary eyes. "Will the daddy mommy finds buy us yummy food, you little foodie?" Jiang Yao replied, "Of course he will." Jiang Ji's eyes lit up. "And a dad who can cook is the best." "Alright," Jiang Yao agreed. "What if he doesn't like us? Would he kick us out?" Jiang Ji tightened her grip on Jiang Yao's hand. Jiang Yao's heart softened. "He won't. He's joining our family of four. If he ever tries to kick out Gigi and your brothers, Mom will be the first to throw him out. Don't be afraid, little sister. Big brother will protect you too." Jiang Jing comforted his sister. "Mommy, you must find a smart daddy," Jiang Yu said with a serious and earnest little face. "You will dislike a daddy who's too dumb." Jiang Yao burst into laughter and pinched Yoyo's little cheek. "Alright, mommy will definitely find someone smarter than you." Jiang Jing clung to Jiang Yao's hand, his tone urgent. Mommy, what's wrong?" "Xiao Jing, Mom must find us the richest dad. The most generous kind." Jiang Jing thought for a moment. "A rich but stingy man won't do, and neither will a freeloader, Mom. A man who loves you will definitely be willing to spend money on you." Jiang Jing suddenly changed the subject. "Of course, if Mom really likes him, then I can reluctantly accept him. At worst, I'll just earn more money. Xiao Jing is so amazing." Jiang Yao was deeply moved. Jiang Yao listened to the three little ones' words, looked up at the sky, and thought, a man who is wealthy, generous, smart, and loves children might be a bit hard to find, actually. Jiang Yao just wanted to hear the children's thoughts today. She didn't plan to never experience a second relationship after the divorce. If she met someone she liked, she'd be more than willing to give it a try, of course. The premise was that the other person would be willing to accept her children. These three little rascals will always hold the top spot in Jiang Yao's heart. After returning home, Jiang Yao first tidied up for the children. Finally, she poured herself some red wine, leaned back on the sofa, and chatted with Yuan Jiao. Xie Zhongyun's home has a massive wine cabinet, which is an enormous temptation for Jiang Yao, a wine enthusiast. You and Song Wenchen really have some fate. Meeting through a blind date, it is quite a coincidence. Hey, Yao Yao, do you know how people in the circle talk about him and your ex-husband? Yuan Jiao became excited at this point. One is gentle and refined, the other is sophisticated and noble, different types. But both are highly popular in the circle. Their relationship doesn't seem too good, though. Two tigers can't share one mountain, so it's understandable. Jiang Yao took a sip of red wine and remained silent. TSK, one is your ex-husband, and the other is your blind date. How lucky you are. My dear Yao, Yuan Jiao exclaimed with emotion. Would you like this kind of luck if it were offered to you? Without a second's hesitation, Yuan Jiao replied, no way, that woman. What's her name? Su something used to act all high and mighty. Her fans called her the piano princess, but she entered the entertainment industry a few years ago and has already starred in several dramas. How shameless, riding on Fu Yanli's coattails. She's gotten such great resources, it was expected. Jiang Yao said flatly, when she entered the entertainment industry, Fu Yanli would probably pave the way for her. I ran into them today, when I left the restaurant with Song Wonja. Both he and Su Jinyu were there. Jiang Yao felt no ripple of emotion, speaking as casually as if she were commenting on the nice weather. Damn, what kind of twisted fate is this that you actually ran into them? Let me tell you. Before Yuan Jiao could finish her sentence, a muffled male voice came through. You still have the energy to. The words were cut short as Yuan Jiao covered her mouth, growling fiercely. Shut up, nighttime. Home, a man. Jiang Yao understood. Yao Yao. Ah ha ha ha. Yuan Jiao laughed awkwardly, unable to explain. Let's continue talking about Su Jinyu. Jiang Yao hung up the phone decisively. No more talking. Goodbye, and have a pleasant nightlife. After being hung up on, Yuan Jiao threw her phone down and pushed away the man holding her. I was on the phone with Yao Yao. Why did you speak? Was it on purpose? Was it on purpose? As she spoke, she pounded the man's chest. The man said pitifully, didn't you say you'd consider going public? Don't even think about backing out. Consider. Do I need to explain the meaning of this word to you? Got it, the man replied verbally, while his hands mischievously untied Yuan Jiao's pajamas. If you still have the energy to hit me, then let's go again. Jiang Yao hung up the phone. The three little rascals were already asleep. Jiang Jing and Jiang Yu were sprawled out on the large rug in the center of the living room, while Jiang Ji lay asleep on the sofa, all of them in disarray. There were scattered Lego bricks nearby. Jiang Yao got up to carry the three little ones into the bedroom. At that moment, the doorbell rang. Who could be coming at such a late hour? Chapter 19 The Drunken Ex-Husband. Jiang Yao first covered the three little ones' bellies with a small blanket before going to open the door. She peeked through the peephole and saw a head of pink hair. Lu Jianyan's hair was unmistakable. Jiang Yao opened the door. She saw Lu Jianyan and Han Xiongyu supporting Fu Yanli on either side. Fu Yanli's head hung limply, his expression unclear, but Jiang Yao caught the scent of alcohol on him. Sister-in-law. Brother Fu is drunk, Lu Jianyan explained. He insisted on coming to see you, and we had no choice but to bring him here, 2 hours ago at the bar. Fu Yanli's eyes darkened as he spoke with unmistakable sarcasm. What kind of taste does Jiang Yao have? Of all people, she had to fall for Song Wench. That hypocrite, what does he have that I don't? Han Xiongyu asked timidly. Brother Fu, haven't you let go of sister-in-law yet? Ha, Fu Yanli sneered, as if hearing the biggest joke. Not over her. What a joke. Then why compare yourself to Song Wenchen? The fact that you instinctively measure yourself against him shows that in your heart. Fu Yanli shot a sharp glance his way. Lu Jianyan fell silent. Later, Fu Yanli, who usually had a high alcohol tolerance, ended up drunk. Lu Jianyan and Han Xiongyu put their heads together and decided to give Fu Ji a helping hand. After getting Jiang Yao's home address, they delivered him right to her doorstep, coming to find her in a playful manner. Jiang Yao felt this line was something Lu Jianyan added himself. Jiang Yao lifted Fu Yanli's chin with her hand. His cold, pale skin was flushed with a drunken red, his eyes dazed. Those dazed phoenix eyes seemed veiled in a mist. Jiang Yao withdrew her hand and sneered. There's no place for him here. Take him back to your own home, or just dump him in any hotel for the night. Han Xiongyu pleaded. Don't be like that, sister-in-law. It wasn't easy for us to bring him here. Please don't make Fu leave. Lu Jianyan chimed in. Yeah, sister-in-law, you can just let brother Fu sleep on your floor for the night. We really don't have the strength to carry him back anymore. Jiang Yao hadn't even spoken yet. Lu Jianyan and Han Xiongyu exchanged a glance and were about to carry Fu Yanli inside. Stop. Jiang Yao reacted strongly, swiftly closing the door to block the two. There are 3 babies sleeping in the living room, and if Lu Jianyan and Han Xiongyu see them, it could easily expose the situation. They absolutely must not go in. Jiang Yao felt uneasy, worried that their talking might wake the babies. Give him to me. I'll help him inside. Thank you, sister-in-law. You're as beautiful as you are kind, gentle and generous. Lu Jianyan and Han Xiongyu released their grip, and Fu Yanli collapsed onto Jiang Yao, his head resting in the crook of her shoulder. Warm breath brushed against Jiang Yao's neck, and with the proximity, the scent of alcohol on Fu Yanli grew even stronger. Then we'll be off. Thanks for your trouble, sister-in-law. Lu Jianyan and Han Xiongyu slipped away quickly. Fu Yanli, standing at 188 centimeters, was no lightweight, while Jiang Yao, at 168 centimeters, wasn't considered short among girls. But next to Fu Yanli, she appeared petite, and she was nearly suffocated under his weight. Hey! Jiang Yao slapped Fu Yanli's back unceremoniously and with considerable force. Wake up, Fu Yanli. The man leaned on her without moving, just holding her. Jiang Yao had no choice but to slowly shuffle toward the living room in what looked like an embrace between the two. As she moved, she cursed under her breath. Dead weight, can't hold your liquor yet drink so much. Don't you have any self-awareness? I must have been blind to ever fall for someone like you. Once inside, Jiang Yao cautiously covered Fu Yanli's eyes. The kids were in the living room, so she couldn't just leave him there. Jiang Yao moved him bit by bit into an empty room. This is the guest bedroom, and no one has ever stayed here before. Finally arriving, Jiang Yao tossed Fu Yanli onto the bed. Fu Yanli's eyes were tightly shut, with only a slight frown between his brows. I'm so tired. She stretched her back and waist while walking towards the living room. She picked up each of the three little ones one by one and placed them on the bed in the bedroom. Finally, she closed the bedroom door. She also took the opportunity to tidy up all the children's belongings scattered around the living room and other areas. Walking to the guest bedroom, the strong smell of alcohol was disgusting. Jiang Yao thought with disdain. Unable to bear it any longer, Jiang Yao went to the bathroom and filled the tub with water. Adjusting it to a suitable temperature, she went over and lightly patted Fu Yanli's face. No response. Jiang Yao crossed her arms and sighed. Then she went to get a towel, soaked it in cold water, and slapped it onto Fu Yanli's face with a smack. This time, the man finally reacted. Cold, cold. Fu Yanli groggily removed the towel from his face. Serves you right. Jiang Yao picked up the towel again and covered his face. Are you awake now? Fu Yanli tilted his head, and the towel fell off. He opened his eyes, the corners reddened, his eyelids drooping, the haze of alcohol swirling in his gaze, intoxicating and blurred, lifting his gaze. There was a beauty so captivating it stole one's breath, like a bewitching male spirit. She had been utterly enchanted by Fu Yanli's striking appearance before. Get up. Jiang Yao grabbed his arm and said expressionlessly. Fu Yanli seemed to regain a bit of sobriety and cooperated as Jiang Yao helped him stand up. Jiang Yao led him toward the bathroom, instructing him to steady himself against the wall. Take off your clothes. Fu Yanli looked down at her but made no move to comply. Jiang Yao glanced at him. What's the point of reasoning with a drunkard? Jiang Yao directly reached out to strip off his suit, but Fu Yanli recoiled in panic. No, no, this won't do. Jiang Yao was furious. It wasn't like she hadn't seen it hundreds of times before. She had long lost any desire for Fu Yanli's body. Fu Yanli's current reaction made it seem like she was about to force him into something, while he played the role of an unwilling, virtuous man. What, Fu Yanli? Is your body plated in gold or studded with diamonds? What are you pretending for? Jiang Yao frowned tightly, her eyes flashing with anger. As for this body of yours, I've long grown tired of sleeping with it. Just looking at you makes me fear I'll get a sty tomorrow. Fu Yanli's drowsy eyes quietly watched her, his usually unruly face now showing a hint of obedience. You, bad woman, want to take off my clothes, won't let you see, only for my wife. Only for my wife. Who would have thought Fu Yanli would act like this when drunk? Jiang Yao kindly reminded him. You don't have a wife, so there's no need to be so strict with male virtue. Even when you did have one, I didn't see you being this cautious. If you don't want to take it off, then don't. Just go in as you are. After all, it wasn't her who'd be uncomfortable taking a bath with clothes on. Oh, Fu Yanli responded belatedly, then slowly stepped into the bathtub. The white shirt clung tightly to his body after being soaked, faintly revealing the contours of his muscles. Jiang Yao averted her gaze, but Fu Yanli, soaking in the water, began to act restless, his hands fumbling with his shirt. What are you doing? Uncomfortable? Fu Yanli looked up at Jiang Yao, his eyes moist and slightly aggrieved. Jiang Yao let out a long sigh. I really owe you one. Then she swiftly removed his shirt and pants. Now, Fu Yanli was left with only one piece of clothing. His perfect physique was fully outlined under the light. Broad shoulders, narrow waist, a strong and powerful chest exposed to the air, with firm muscles and smooth lines, not an ounce of excess. It was so thrilling it made my blood boil. Jiang Yao couldn't help but swallow hard. It seems he's been working out all these years. This has to come off too, Fu Yanli muttered as he removed the last piece of fabric covering him. Hey, stop. Jiang Yao quickly grabbed Fu Yanli's hand to stop him. You can't take that off. She hadn't paid attention to his lower body earlier, but after Fu Yanli's antics, Jiang Yao clearly saw a noticeable bulge in his crotch area, heavy and prominent. Jiang Yao eyed Fu Yanli's face suspiciously. Was he really drunk? How could someone react so strongly if they were drunk? Fu Yanli's gaze was clear. His face flushed. Perhaps I'm overthinking it, Jiang Yao thought to herself. Fu Yanli doesn't have such good acting skills. Chapter 20, Su Jinyu's Hangover Soup. Jiang Yao heard the phone ring and stood up, walking outside. It wasn't her own phone ringing, but the one Fu Yanli had left on the table. The screen lit up, displaying an unfamiliar number, but there was no contact information attached, Jiang Yao thought to herself. Since it wasn't hers, there was no need to pay attention to it. As for answering Fu Yanli's calls, even during the 2 years of their marriage, Jiang Yao had never done such a thing. Not to mention now that the two had long since gone their separate ways, why bother with unnecessary actions? However, the phone seemed determined, ringing incessantly as if it wouldn't stop until its purpose was achieved. Jiang Yao was finally irritated by the endless ringing. Helplessly, she picked up Fu Yanli's phone and swiped lightly to answer the call. Almost instantly, an anxious female voice came from the other end. Yanli, are you okay? I heard from others that you're drunk. How are you feeling now? Do you need me to make some hangover soup and bring it over? I'm really worried about you. Su Jinyu fired off a rapid series of concerned words like a machine gun. Hearing these words, a faint, mocking smile appeared on Jiang Yao's face. Miss Su, what a coincidence. We just met at the restaurant earlier today, but calling a man so late at night, I wonder what kind of intentions Miss Su might have. Su Jinyu paused abruptly upon hearing this, suspicion creeping into her voice as she pressed further. Why do you have Yanli's phone? Oh, it's like this, came a soft, delicate voice from the other end. He's actually at my place right now. He must have been too tired earlier, so I answered the call for him. Su Jinyu's tone remained calm, like a clear, flowing stream, as she replied softly, I see, then I truly appreciate your efforts, Miss Jiang. I was worried something might have happened to Yanli, but knowing he's with you puts my mind at ease. I was just about to make some sobering soup to bring over to him. Hearing the other party politely say the words trouble Miss Jiang, it seemed to imply an unusually intimate relationship between her and Fu Yanli. If it were the Jiang Yao of the past, perhaps these words would have already pierced her heart, leaving her disheartened and sorrowful. However, the present Jiang Yao showed not the slightest hint of displeasure. Instead, she cheerfully responded, of course, that's perfect. It just so happens I don't know how to make sobering soup. Since you do, that's even better. I hope you can make it quickly and bring it over. Thank you for your trouble, Miss Su. Su Jinyu gritted her teeth and said, no problem. Before the words could fully land, Jiang Yao swiftly hung up the phone. After hanging up the phone, Jiang Yao was in an extremely cheerful mood. Causing Su Jinyu to feel displeased was nothing short of immense joy for her. This white lotus, humming a tune, she headed to the bathroom to check on Fu Yanli. On the other end of the line, Su Jinyu, who had her call abruptly ended, was far from happy. She angrily threw her phone to the ground, creating a harsh, grating noise. The smile on her face cracked, turning ferocious. Am I a nanny? Jiang Yao, who the hell do you think you are? How dare you order me around? Just wait. One day I'll make you kneel before me. Jiang Yao walked to the bathroom and saw Fu Yanli still sitting obediently in the bathtub. At least he hadn't drowned. Jiang Yao let out a sigh of relief. There had been news before about someone who got drunk and drowned unconsciously while soaking in a bathtub. Although Jiang Yao didn't like him, she didn't want him to die either, especially not having an accident in her home. That would be too unlucky. Jiang Yao noticed that the only change in Fu Yanli was that he had also taken off his underwear. A black one was thrown on the edge of the bathtub. Now he was soaking in the bathtub completely naked. How ugly, I saw, even after seeing it so many times before. Jiang Yao still couldn't get used to it and still thought the thing was really ugly. Jiang Yao pinched her fingers into an awkward gesture, picked up Fu Yanli's black underwear with her thumb and forefinger, and disdainfully threw it into the trash can, scolding, what a bad habit, throwing clothes around. Get up, your skin's going to wrinkle from soaking. Jiang Yao patted his shoulder. Fu Yanli was very compliant, quickly rising from the water, his wet and steaming body fully exposed before Jiang Yao's eyes, so close that they could feel each other's breath. Jiang Yao instinctively took a small step back. Then she casually tossed Fu Yanli a fresh towel and said coldly, dry yourself off. Fu Yanli stood frozen in place like a statue, staring intently at Jiang Yao as if hoping she would personally dry him off. Can't even use your hands properly when you're drunk, Jiang Yao complained impatiently. She casually picked up a towel, wiped Fu Yanli haphazardly a few times, then hurriedly left the bathroom. Meanwhile, Fu Yanli remained in a half-dry, half-wet state all over. Stand still and don't move. Just air dry here. Jiang Yao deliberately maintained some distance from him, avoiding eye contact. After all, as a mentally mature woman, especially one who hasn't had sex for a long time, suddenly seeing a completely naked man who perfectly matches her aesthetic standards makes it incredibly hard to suppress the inner impulse. However, Fu Yanli seemed completely unaware of all this and still attempted to approach Jiang Yao. Jiang Yao glared at him fiercely, and if one looked closely, they might even detect a hint of regret in her eyes. What a pity. After all, he's my ex-husband. Absolutely no relations with him. Once you've slept together, I'm afraid things will get complicated. Fu Yanli's clothes were all wet, and there were definitely no adult men's clothes at home. Jiang Yao had a headache. She needed to quickly find something to wrap him up. Jiang Yao went to search the room and actually found a few men's clothes in the corner of the wardrobe. They were probably left there by Xie Zhongyun before, and the housekeeper hadn't cleaned them up. The clothes still carried a faint, fresh scent of laundry detergent. Jiang Yao picked up a black hoodie. Although Xie Zhongyun was old enough to be Jiang Yao's father, he refused to act his age and usually wore clothes that weren't old-fashioned. Moreover, as a medical professional, he took good care of himself, making it hard to guess his actual age. Jiang Yao handed his clothes to Fu Yanli. Fu Yanli frowned tightly, refusing to take the clothes from her hand. Jiang Yao grew impatient. Fine, don't wear them then. Go to bed. The drunken Fu Yanli was much more obedient, lying down on the bed in a daze. Jiang Yao let out a long sigh, turned off the light, and left the house. The doorbell rang. It was a Meituan delivery person bringing a thermal container. Jiang Yao raised an eyebrow. Su Jinyu actually sent it over. She really has a high tolerance for this. Su Jinyu called right on time. Just as Jiang Yao had casually slipped Fu Yanli's phone into her pocket, Miss Jiang, the hangover soup has been delivered. Right, this is what Yanli likes, Jiang Yao said nonchalantly. Unfortunately, it was delivered too late. Fu Yanli is already asleep. After speaking, Jiang Yao hung up the phone and opened the lid, releasing a fragrant aroma. What a pity. The Fu Yanli she had been longing for wouldn't get to taste the soup she had personally made. Jiang Yao casually placed the insulated bucket aside and went into the bedroom. She even made sure to lock the bedroom door from the inside. The three little ones were sleeping soundly. Xiao Jing had moved from the head of the bed to the foot, while Gigi had her legs draped over him. Yu Yu was sleeping on his stomach, which isn't good for children. Jiang Yao turned him over onto his back. Jiang Yao was also tired, so she found an empty spot on the bed and lay down. Her eyes were half closed, almost asleep, when the bedroom door was banged loudly. Fu Yanli, are you crazy? Restlessly moving his hands and feet, Yu Yu made Jiang Yao quickly pat his back gently. After waiting until Yu Yu stopped fidgeting, Jiang Yao got out of bed. She opened the bedroom door just a crack, slipped out quickly, and closed it swiftly behind her. Fu Yanli slightly lowered his head, his gaze resting on her. His eyes were moist and deep, with long, thick, and delicate eyelashes. At this moment, he looked like a gentle and adorable big dog. Jiang Yao had no choice but to grit her teeth and lead him into the guest room. Filled with deep regret, why had she recklessly opened the door tonight? Why did she let him into the house in the first place? Although Fu Yanli was drunk at this moment, Jiang Yao remained deeply worried, fearing he might notice any traces of a child having lived in the home. Who could guarantee whether he would remember what happened tonight once he sobered up tomorrow? She couldn't afford to let her guard down. Jiang Yao forcefully pushed Fu Yanli onto the bed, noticing his eyes still fixed intently on her, appearing especially bright under the warm, soft glow of the yellow light. Jiang Yao couldn't help but feel annoyed and coquettishly said, "Close your eyes right now." Fu Yanli obediently closed his eyes upon hearing her words. Jiang Yao, on the other hand, chose to lie down on the nearby sofa, secretly determined to keep watch over him tonight. After a whole day of running around and exhaustion, Jiang Yao's breathing gradually became steady and rhythmic, and she soon fell into a deep sleep. However, Fu Yanli suddenly opened his eyes, and his previously drunken, hazy gaze instantly regained its usual clarity and brightness. He quietly got up, carefully lifted the blanket, and tiptoed out of bed. Then, with movements as gentle as if holding a rare treasure, he picked up Jiang Yao horizontally and slowly placed her on the bed. Immediately after, he lay down quietly beside her. Chapter 21, Hiding a Man at Home. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the window into the room. Particularly glaring, Jiang Yao suddenly woke up from her sleep, staring blankly at her surroundings. It took her a while to realize she was actually lying in bed. She tried hard to recall what had happened the night before, remembering clearly that she had fallen asleep on the couch. How did she end up in bed? Could she have been sleepwalking in the middle of the night? At that moment, Jiang Yao's gaze inadvertently met Fu Yanli's beside her. She saw him looking down at her quietly, his eyes revealing a hint of confusion and bewilderment. "Why am I at your place?" Fu Yanli was the first to speak, his voice slightly hoarse. Jiang Yao frowned, her lips pressed tightly together, and replied irritably, "It's all because you got drunk and were brought to my place by your so-called good brothers. At the time, you insisted on staying overnight, even kneeling and begging me, refusing to leave unless I took you in. If it weren't for your pitiful state, who would bother with a drunkard like you? Even if it were just a stray cat or dog asking for help, I'd have taken them in out of pity." Fu Yanli listened to Jiang Yao's words and said, "That's impossible. I would never do something like that." "Oh, so you remember what happened last night?" Jiang Yao raised an eyebrow and retorted. Fu Yanli hesitated for a moment, then rubbed his temples and said, "My head hurts. I must have blacked out from drinking. I can't remember anything. But, did you take off my clothes?" "You took off your own clothes, even your underwear." Jiang Yao glared at him angrily, then issued an eviction notice. "Since you're sober now, hurry up and get dressed and leave. I don't have any clothes. How can I go?" Fu Yanli retorted. Fu Yanli was indeed completely naked under the blanket. Jiang Yao remembered that the clothes he wore yesterday were soaked and still lying in the bathroom. "Here are some clothes. You can make do with them." Jiang Yao pointed at the clothes her master had offered last night, which Fu Yanli had refused, and said helplessly. Fu Yanli frowned and replied with clear disdain, "I won't wear clothes that someone else has worn." He stared intently at the black hoodie, trying to discern who its owner might be. He thought to himself that it definitely couldn't belong to Song Wonja, because based on his understanding of Song Wonja, the other man would never wear such casual style clothing in daily life. Looking at the style of these clothes again, they seem more like something a young man would wear. At this thought, Fu Yanli's gaze deepened, and a hint of doubt arose in his heart. Why would there be a strange man's clothes in Jiang Yao's home? At this moment, Jiang Yao retorted impatiently, "Oh, so now you're being picky. Wear them or not, suit yourself. If you don't want to, just go out naked and let the whole world admire your bare body." Without a word, Fu Yanli pulled back the blanket, revealing his completely naked body to Jiang Yao. Jiang Yao inadvertently caught sight of his vast expanse of cold, pale skin and instantly blushed crimson. "Ah, what are you doing?" Jiang Yao cried out in shock. Last night, Fu Yanli had been drunk, and with the late hour, she hadn't felt particularly embarrassed. But now that he was sober and seeing this scene in broad daylight, Jiang Yao felt extremely awkward. Fu Yanli, however, said nonchalantly, "I'm just going to the bathroom. What did you think I was going to do? Or do you actually want me to do something? If that's the case, I might reluctantly oblige." "Get lost," Jiang Yao shouted in a mix of anger and embarrassment. Fu Yanli stiffly walked into the bathroom. The room's soundproofing was mediocre, so Jiang Yao could even clearly hear the sound of water. She took a deep breath, rolled out of bed, opened the door, and prepared to step outside. Fu Yanli, who had just come out of the bathroom, actually followed behind her, a towel wrapped around his waist. "At least he has some decency," Jiang Yao thought to herself. It's just that his area didn't seem to have calmed down, and even with the towel wrapped around, the prominent bulge in the middle was still visible. "Where are you looking?" Fu Yanli curled his lips into a teasing smile. Jiang Yao looked up to meet his gaze, smiling unabashedly. "Looking at your little brother. After being apart for so long, I just realized you're not all that impressive." Fu Yanli's face darkened. "Try me." "No. I'm afraid yours can no longer satisfy me." Fu Yanli stared straight at her and suddenly laughed. "Then who can satisfy you?" "Song Wen Chen. Anyone's is better than yours," Jiang Yao said with a charming smile. "Don't come out, stay in this room, in my house. You have to listen to me." Fu Yanli, confined in the guest bedroom, clenched his jaw with a dark, inscrutable gaze, suppressing his emotions. As the door closed, Jiang Yao stepped into the master bedroom. Thankfully, the babies were still asleep. Before they wake up, hurry and let Fu Yanli leave. Gigi kicked off the blanket, and Jiang Yao covered her up again. After tucking her in, she met Xiao Jing's wide-open eyes. Xiao Jing is awake. Mommy, be good. Xiao Jing, Mom has a task for you. After your younger siblings wake up, don't let them make any noise. Only when Mom comes in is it okay. If Mom doesn't say anything later, you and your siblings must stay in the room and not come out, understand? Jiang Yao spoke softly, almost in a whisper. Ham. Jiang Xiaojing nodded obediently. Great. Mom will make you some milk. Children grow quickly and get hungry fast, basically needing to eat as soon as they wake up. Jiang Yao left the room quietly, closing the door behind her. She glanced at the guest bedroom door, still closed. Fu Yanli hadn't come out yet. Just as she reached the kitchen, she took out Jiang Jing's bottle and skillfully began preparing the formula. The water used for mixing formula shouldn't be too hot, as high temperatures can destroy the vitamins and affect digestion and absorption. Jiang Yao had always been accustomed to using water around 50 degrees Celsius to prepare the formula. After finishing the formula, Jiang Yao turned around and happened to see Fu Yanli standing right in front of her. Jiang Yao was startled, her left hand still holding the baby bottle. Realizing she had overreacted, she patted her chest and tried to stay calm. You walk so quietly, and didn't I tell you not to come out? Why did you come out anyway? Fu Yanli explained. I asked my assistant to bring some clothes over. He'll be here soon. Then his gaze fell on the baby bottle in Jiang Yao's hand, his expression skeptical. Is this for you to drink? Jiang Yao's heart tightened. I never noticed you had this habit before. After hearing the second half of what Fu Yanli said, Jiang Yao temporarily breathed a sigh of relief. It was good that he hadn't noticed. She casually put the baby bottle to her mouth and took a few sips. Yeah, there's a lot you don't know about me. I've been having osteoporosis lately, so I'm drinking milk powder to supplement calcium. Using a baby bottle is just more convenient. Jiang Yao's casual fabrication didn't convince Fu Yanli. Qin brought him clothes. President Fu, your clothes. Qin handed him a bag. Then his gaze subtly drifted inside. The boss had him deliver clothes early in the morning. As a grown man, he understood. It was hard not to let his imagination run wild. There must be another person in the room, and of the opposite sex. The gossipy heart is itching to know more. Fu Yanli coldly and mercilessly closed the door. Jiang Yao saw it and said, leave as soon as you change your clothes. After speaking, a dull thud suddenly came from the bedroom. As if something heavy had crashed violently onto the floor, Fu Yanli turned his gaze toward the direction of the bedroom. Seeing this, Jiang Yao quickly stepped in front of him, her voice urgent as she said, it might just be something that fell accidentally, let me check. With that, she hurried toward the bedroom door. However, at that very moment, Fu Yanli suddenly let out a cold laugh and spoke leisurely. Could it be that there's another man hidden in this room? His gaze was fixed intently on Jiang Yao, as if trying to see through everything from her expression. Faced with Fu Yanli's questioning, Jiang Yao remained exceptionally composed. She responded expressionlessly, he probably got a bit impatient waiting. I'll go in and comfort him. With that, she turned and walked into the bedroom without hesitation, locking the door behind her. At this very moment, Jiang Yao had only one thought in her mind. She absolutely must not let Fu Yanli discover the existence of the children. As long as she could keep it hidden from him, it didn't matter what wild thoughts he might have. After entering the bedroom, Jiang Yao secretly breathed a sigh of relief. She had initially thought it was Xiao Jing, unable to bear the hunger, making noise while eagerly waiting for the formula milk. But when she walked in and looked, she was surprised to find that it was actually Yu who had accidentally rolled off the bed while sleeping. Fortunately, there was a soft carpet by the bed, so Yu wasn't hurt, just a bit dazed as he sat on the carpet. Meanwhile, Xiao Jing obediently stayed by his side, quietly keeping his little brother company. Sweetheart, Jiang Yao said with a heartache as she picked up Yu, carefully checking his body to make sure he hadn't hurt himself anywhere before finally feeling a little relieved. Gigi, still sleeping soundly beside them, wasn't disturbed at all by the noise outside, her little mouth slightly open. She occasionally let out soft snores, a truly adorable little piglet. Jiang Yao gently patted the two children, softly urging them to stay quiet. After arranging everything, she slowly walked out of the bedroom. By then, Fu Yanli had already changed into a well-tailored suit, looking all prim and proper. Jiang Yao thought to herself. Seeing her come out, Fu Yanli raised an eyebrow. Did you manage to calm her down? Fu Yanli knew the man Jiang Yao mentioned was fake. If there really had been a man in her home, she wouldn't have let him in last night. Yeah, he's quite clingy, so you'd better leave quickly. I'm afraid he might get upset if he sees you. Jiang Yao suddenly remembered something. Oh, right. You still have something to take with you. Jiang Yao turned and walked toward the kitchen. Fu Yanli was puzzled. Before long, Jiang Yao emerged, holding the thermal container in her hand, her lips curling slightly in a faint, ambiguous smile. Here, she said, your hangover soup. Fu Yanli casually took it, a trace of imperceptible tenderness flickering in his eyes. Though I'm not particularly fond of such soups, since you made it yourself, I suppose I can humor you, however. Jiang Yao responded nonchalantly. Oh, this wasn't made by me. Fu Yanli immediately looked puzzled. Then who made it? While pushing Fu Yanli toward the door, Jiang Yao replied leisurely. Naturally, it was your considerate childhood sweetheart, Su Jinyu, last night. She even specially hired a delivery guy to bring it over. The soup has gone cold by now, but you can still heat it up and drink it. After all, you shouldn't lightly dismiss the kind intentions of your childhood sweetheart. Even I, your ex-wife, was deeply moved, though I still owe you an apology. Last night, after answering your call, Jiang Yao's tone was dripping with sarcasm, and she spoke at a rapid pace. Before the words had even finished, there was a loud bang as the door slammed shut, mercilessly leaving Fu Yanli standing outside. Chapter 22, Gigi's Piano Talent. Seeing the boss's gloomy expression, Qin tried to lighten the mood. He started with the insulated food container the boss had brought into the car. Mr. Fu, this must be soup inside. It smells so good. The person who made it must be both skillful and talented in cooking. After saying this, Qin felt the atmosphere in the car grow even colder. Fu Yanli's expression was stern, his thin lips pressed into a straight line, his low voice carrying a hint of displeasure. You like it, then you can take care of it later. Realizing he had said the wrong thing, Qin didn't dare to speak another word. The rest of the journey was quiet. Fu Yanli wondered to himself why Jiang Yao would think that Su Jinyu and he had that kind of relationship. Today was the day Jiang Yao and Song Wonchua had agreed to visit his home to examine his grandmother. The time agreed upon with Song Wonchua was 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Jiang Yao sent him a WeChat message. Do you mind if I bring the kids along? There are no adults at home, and I'm a bit worried. Song Wenchen replied quickly, of course not. With the answer in hand, Jiang Yao dressed the three little ones. Mommy is going to a grandma's house today to treat her illness. Would you like to come with me? If not, it's okay. I can take you to grandpa and grandma's house to play. The three little ones answered in unison. We want to go with mommy. All right, you must behave and not make any noise, Jiang Yao reminded them, though in truth, she didn't need to worry. The three little ones had always been well behaved. We remember, Mom. Okay, let's go then. Song Wenchen, as usual, arrived early and waited downstairs in the residential area. As Jiang Yao led the children down, she spotted him at a glance. Song Wench looked at Jiang Yao and the three children approaching, unable to hide his surprise. Are these your younger siblings? They look so much like you. Jiang Yao shook her head with a smile. Don't tell me these are your kids. Before Jiang Yao could answer, Gigi hugged her leg and said, Yes, I'm Mommy's daughter, and we're all Mommy's treasures. Song Wench hadn't even considered that possibility initially because Jiang Yao looked too young, judging by her figure and appearance. There was no way to tell she had 3 children. Get in the car first. Song Wench opened the passenger door for Jiang Yao, while the 3 kids climbed into the back seat. May I ask, is it his? Jiang Yao responded generously. Yes, it is. Song Wench guessed. Does he still not know about it? Yes, I hope you can keep it a secret for me. Song Wenchu chuckled softly. What are you laughing at? I just realized that I actually knew about his 3 children before he did, and the kids are all so adorable. So, are you planning to keep it from him all along? Indeed, to be honest, if it weren't for my grandmother's situation, I wouldn't have returned to City A for now. I don't want him to know. They finally arrived at Song Wonchu's grandmother's house. Shen Qingxi was sitting quietly on the small sofa, and Jiang Yao saw her as soon as she pushed the door open. "Hello, Grandma Shen, you look much better this time than before. It's clear at a glance that you must be a patient who follows the doctor's orders." Just as Jiang Yao had said, Shen Qingxi's complexion was no longer as pale and weak as before. Instead, a faint blush now graced her cheeks. Song Wenchua, standing nearby, chimed in with a smile. "Exactly. I make sure my grandma takes her medicine every single day without fail. She doesn't even get a chance to skip it." Jiang Jing, Jiang Ji, and Jiang Yu, the three little ones, found themselves in this entirely new environment. Perhaps because they had firmly remembered their mother's instructions, or maybe they were somewhat intimidated by the slightly stern expression of this unfamiliar grandmother. They all obediently kept their mouths shut, not daring to speak up easily. Shen Qingxi turned her gaze to the three children lined up in front of her and asked curiously, "And who might these little ones be?" "Oh, they're all my children. There's really no one at home to look after them, and I couldn't bear to leave them alone, so I had to bring them along," Jiang Yao explained somewhat helplessly. "I see, you had triplets, didn't you? It must be quite challenging to take care of so many children," Shen Qingxi couldn't help but remark. At this moment, Jiji, who had been standing quietly to the side, suddenly turned her head and stared intently at the beautiful pearl earrings Shen Qingxi was wearing. Shen Qingxi noticed and gently called Jiji to her side. She took off her pearl earrings and placed them in her palm, asking, "Do you like these?" Jiji turned to look at her mother with a dependent gaze. And Jiang Yao gave her a reassuring smile. Shen Qingxi spoke up, "If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Do you really need to ask your mother about that?" Jiji nodded, smiling sweetly. "I like it. I really like this. Round, shiny, so beautiful. You have great taste." Shen Qingxi stood up and took out a velvet box from the nearby cabinet. She opened it, revealing a collection of small accessories made from pearls and crystals. Shen Qingxi picked out a small pearl brooch and pinned it on Jiang Ji's chest. Today, Jiang Yao dressed her in a little black dress with a classic Audrey Hepburn style, and the small brooch pinned on it perfectly matched the dress. Jiang Yao could tell that the small brooch given by Shen Qingxi was quite valuable. Judging by the quality of the pearls and the overall craftsmanship, a child couldn't discern the value of such things. In Jiang Ji's eyes, it was just a pretty ornament. "Thank you." Jiji paused mid-sentence, unsure how to address Shen Qingxi. Shen Qingxi promptly came to her rescue. "You can call me great-grandmother." "Thank you, great-grandmother." Afterwards, Jiang Yao examined Shen Qingxi's condition and prescribed a new herbal formula for her. "You'll need to continue taking the medicine, and it can be complemented with medicinal meals. I'll send the recipes to Mr. Song." A series of chaotic piano notes interrupted Jiang Yao's words. She looked up to see Jiang Ji accidentally falling near the piano, her hands instinctively landing on the keys, producing the sound. Song Wenchen quickly picked up Jiang Ji and comforted her softly. "Does it hurt? Did you hurt your legs?" Jiang Yao glanced apologetically at Shen Qingxi. "I'm sorry, Grandma Shen. Ji didn't mean to do it." Jiang Yao had previously learned from Song Wenchen that Shen Qingxi was a pianist, and this piano was clearly one of her cherished possessions. "It's okay." Shen Qingxi shook her head and then turned to ask Jiji, "Jiji, would you like to try the piano?" Song Wenjia placed Jiji on the piano bench. Jiji had never touched a musical instrument before. Curious, she placed a single fingertip on a key, and the piano emitted a pleasant sound. Jiji's eyes lit up, and then she placed her entire hand on it. Her fingers were short, chubby, and had adorable dimples. She tentatively began to play. Xiao Jing was very supportive. "Little sister plays so beautifully." Yu hadn't reacted yet and paused for 2 seconds before saying, "Big sister plays so beautifully." Shen Qingxi stood behind her, gently stroking Jiji's fluffy head, though the little girl in front of her was still young. She could almost envision the graceful and poised pianist she would become in a few years. "Jiji, would you like to learn the piano?" "Yes." Jiang Ji nodded. "Then would Jiji be willing to become my apprentice? May I teach you?" Shen Qingxi crouched down to meet Jiang Ji's eye level. Song Wenchen looked surprised. Her grandmother hadn't taken on an apprentice in a long time. Jiang Yao was also surprised. After returning home last time, she learned that Shen Qingxi was a renowned pianist in China. Having won numerous awards and enjoying great fame abroad as well, She was amazed that such a master would inquire in such a humble tone. After all, many people were practically begging her to take them as students. Jiang Ji. I do. She turned to ask Jiang Yao, Mom, can I learn the piano? Jiang Yao nodded. Of course you can, sweetheart, you can decide for yourself. But once you've made the decision, you can't change your mind, you mustn't give up halfway. Shen Qingxi smiled. Then Gigi will be the youngest disciple I've ever taken. On their way back that evening, Jiang Yao still felt her daughter was incredibly lucky. By chance, I became the disciple of a piano master. Before leaving, Shen Qingxi stuffed each of the 3 children with a big red envelope. Chapter 23, Visiting the handsome uncle's house. The next day, Jiangxi said to Jiang Yao with great seriousness, Mom, I made an appointment with my master to go learn piano today. Can you take me there? It was the first time Jiang Yao had seen this little lazy pig so enthusiastic. Although she, as the mother, still wanted to stay in bed, she couldn't dampen her daughter's eagerness to learn. She rubbed her eyes and began selecting Gigi's outfit for the day. The 3 little ones at home had an abundance of clothes. Back in their former home in S-City, there was even an entire walk-in closet dedicated to storing their garments. Jiang Yao always adhered to the principle of raising her children with abundance. This time I came back without bringing many clothes, so I recently bought some new ones. Mom, I want to wear that floral long skirt. Jiangxi was referring to a brand new calf-length skirt with small floral patterns on a pale yellow background. Upon hearing this, Jiang Yao took the skirt out of the wardrobe and, in one smooth motion, also picked out a white blouse with ruffled edges and a light green sweater vest to match. Then, she skillfully braided Gigi's hair, letting it fall naturally over her shoulders. After dressing the little princess up, Jiang Yao called the 3 little ones to go to the dining room for breakfast. Jiang Yao hired a housekeeper to take care of the family's breakfast, lunch, dinner, and household cleaning. After breakfast, Jiang Yao planned to drive her daughter to Shen Qingxi's home herself. Xiao Jing. Yu, Mom needs to take Gigi over. Would you like to come with me? Considering the long round trip, Jiang Yao asked her 2 sons. Let them decide for themselves whether to go together or stay at home. Mom, can we go play at the neighbor's house? Xiao Jing asked Jiang Yao. Remembering that the handsome uncle's house was nearby, Jiang Yao was puzzled. They had just moved in. So how could Xiaojing and the others already know the neighbors? How did you meet? Mom, I know. We met when we went out to eat before. He's so handsome and nice, Jiangxi eagerly answered. Jiang Yao encouraged her children to socialize. But since she hadn't met that neighbor herself, she couldn't help feeling a little uneasy. How about this, Auntie Sun? You take the child over and then help bring them back later. Auntie Sun was the new housekeeper Jiang Yao had hired. Of course, Miss Jiang, the house is pretty much clean, and I don't have much else to do. I'll take the child to the neighbors to play, you don't have to worry. Auntie Sun was very willing. Thank you for the trouble. No trouble at all. Jiang Yao offered a high salary and was easy to talk to, without the airs of a wealthy person, just asking her to pick up and drop off a child. Aunt Sun was naturally happy to oblige. Gigi said regretfully, Brother, you must tell Uncle that Gigi is very sad she can't go this time. But she'll definitely go if there's a chance in the future. Don't worry, little sister. Jiang Yao drove away with Gigi in the car. Jiang Xiaojing specifically sent a message to the handsome uncle. Invincible Tyrannosaurus, Uncle, are you at home? The reply came quickly from the other side. FYL. Here, Invincible Tyrannosaurus, Uncle, can we come play with you? FYL. Sure. Building 9. 15th floor, Invincible Tyrannosaurus, my brother and I will be right there. Fu Yanli got up and washed up, casually grabbing a black casual hoodie to put on, paired with khaki cargo pants for the bottom. It made him look very youthful, exuding a refreshing boyish charm. As it happened, there wasn't much going on at the company today, so he was at home. Grandma's son, take this with you. I want to bring it for Uncle to eat. Jiang Yao specially made a Basque cheesecake, with a delicate texture that melts in your mouth. Okay, Aunt Sun packed the cake in a box and went out with the 2 brothers. Arrived at Building 9, the 15th floor originally consisted of 2 apartments, which were later combined into one. So the entire floor belongs to Fu Yanli. The child was too short to reach the doorbell. Auntie Sun pressed it. Soon, the door opened. Handsome uncle, Xiaojing rushed over. Yu Yu softly called out uncle. Fu Yanli patted both their little heads. You came so quickly. Xiao Jing took the cake from Aunt Sun's hands, looked up, and said, Grandma's son, you can go back now, alright. Then Xiao Jing and Yu Yu have fun. Call Grandma's son in advance when you're ready to go home, got it? Fu Yanli's home was decorated very minimally, with an overall style leaning towards the austere, and the color palette was rather subdued. Where's your sister? Why didn't she come along? Fu Yanli asked Xiao Jing gently. Xiao Jing quickly explained, my sister has to go to piano lessons, and she's really sad because she can't come with us to visit Uncle's house this time. But she said she'll definitely find another chance to come next time, Uncle. This cake was made by my mom herself. It's super delicious. You should try it. Xiao Jing happily handed the cake to Fu Yanli. Fu Yanli actually didn't like sweets, but seeing the child's sincere expression, he couldn't bear to refuse such a kind gesture. So, he carefully took the cake and took a small bite. For someone who has never been fond of sweets, the taste of Basque cake was indeed a bit too sweet and rich. However, Fu Yanli's face showed no trace of abnormality as he swallowed it down nonchalantly. How is it? Is it delicious, handsome uncle? Xiao Jing looked at him with eager anticipation, and even Yu Yu beside her raised her head, gazing at him with equally expectant eyes. Faced with these two adorable little faces, Fu Yanli smiled and replied, yes, it's very delicious. Immediately after, he casually opened a bottle of water, tilted his head back, and took a few sips. Trying to suppress the lingering sweetness in his throat, Xiao Jing said proudly, my mom is the best. Her desserts are the most delicious. Her cooking is just a tiny bit less perfect, Yu Yu added, but she's still the most amazing mom. Xiao Jing agreed, yeah, the very best and the prettiest. What about your dad then? Xiao Jing's face suddenly turned expressionless. We don't have a father, we've never seen him. I'm sorry. Yu Yu shook her head. It's okay, uncle. It was my mom who didn't want him anymore. Yeah, right, he definitely wasn't good enough for mom. We'll find her a new husband. Fu Yanli chuckled. Want to play a game? Fu Yanli led them into a room. The originally spacious room had been transformed by him into a gaming space, looking almost like a miniature VR experience center. Wow, the children had never seen such a scene before, their eyes filled with amazement. Handsome uncle, can we play this? Of course, go ahead and play. Xiao Jing couldn't wait to jump onto the seat. He was very interested in the racing game. Fu Yanli carefully placed Yu Yu on the seat as well, then took out the VR glasses and helped them put them on. Then, he sat down in another seat himself. Xiao Jing excitedly shouted, Uncle, let's have a competition. Sure, Fu Yanli readily agreed. The three of them were completely immersed in the intense competition, since it was the first time the two children had tried this game. Their movements still seemed a bit unfamiliar, but Fu Yanli wasn't the type to deliberately go easy on children, especially when the opponent was a little boy. There was no need for concessions. After one round of the game, the outcome was unsurprising. Fu Yanli effortlessly left them far behind. However, Xiao Jing wasn't discouraged at all. Instead, he shouted, Uncle, let's play another round. Yo-Yo's expression also turned serious, so they continued playing for a long time. It was almost lunchtime when Jiang Yaro called Xiao Jing. Xiao Jing paused the game. Mom's calling me. I'll go answer it. Little brother, you keep playing with Uncle for now. Xiao Jing walked aside. Hello, Mom. Xiao Jing, have you gone home yet? Ask Grandma's son to make something delicious for you when you get back. Mom, we're still at the neighbor uncle's place. Xiao Jing, it's time to come home for dinner. Staying at the uncle's place for so long might disturb him. Don't you think, Xiao Jing thought her mom had a point. The handsome uncle was an adult, and adults have their own things to do. Mom, I understand. Chapter 24. Jiang Yao secretly had a child behind my back. Jiang Jing listened to her mother and bid farewell to Fu Yanli, saying she would come back to play another time. Jiang Jing held her younger brother's hand as they both changed their shoes at the door. Handsome uncle, we still don't know your name. My name is Fu Yanli. Got it, Uncle Fu, goodbye. Fu Yanli opened the door, coming face to face with a beautiful woman outside. She stared at the two children beside Fu Yanli, stunned. Son, you, such a big matter, and you didn't even tell me or your mom. The man beside the beautiful woman scolded him. Yes, son, if we hadn't come. Were you planning not to tell us at all? Dad, Mom, you've misunderstood. They're the neighbor's kids. Fu Yanli explained helplessly. Oh, I see. Ji Yupan's tone couldn't hide her disappointment. Such adorable children. Why can't they be ours? Ji Yupan looked at the two exquisitely beautiful children with eager eyes. Jiang Jing and Jiang Yu didn't know how to address her, as if reading their thoughts. Ji Yupan bent down to meet their eye level and said, "You can call me Grandma." Jiang Jing frowned, his face filled with hesitation. Ji Yupan thought he was unwilling to call her that and quickly said, "It's okay if you don't." Jiang Jing shook his head, "But you're so young, so I'll call you Pretty Grandma instead." Ji Yupan covered her mouth and laughed, unable to hide her amusement. She had lived a life of comfort and took good care of herself, making it impossible to tell her age. Ji Yupan happily accepted the title and affectionately took the hands of the two children. "Come, Pretty Grandma has brought you some delicious treats." As she walked inside, she called out to Fu Ledong behind her. "Hurry up, dear." Fu Ledong quickly caught up, carrying a thermal lunchbox in his hand. Ji Yupan opened the lunchbox, and a rich aroma of chicken soup filled the air. "This is made by Pretty Grandma herself. Give it a try." Ji Yupan brought 2 bowls, served them soup, and gave each a large chicken drumstick. "Thank you, beautiful Grandma." Fu Ledong looked at his delighted wife, worried that she might have forgotten the reason for their visit. The couple had been traveling for a long time and hadn't seen their son in ages. Today, they came to mend their fragile relationship with him. "Check on how my son is doing while I'm at it." Gupan watched contentedly as the 2 little ones gnawed on their big chicken legs. Turning to Fu Yanli, she said, "You haven't eaten yet, have you, son? Order some takeout for yourself." "Uncle Fu, why aren't you eating with us?" Jiang Yu asked. Ji Yupan patted his little head. You can just eat." "He doesn't like chicken soup." Fu Yanli, who doesn't like chicken soup, he took out his phone and ordered takeout. Ji Yupan reminded him, "Order something kids like to eat." The more Ji Yupan looked at them, the more she adored them. Not only were the 2 children adorable, but they were also sweet-tongued and polite, delighting her endlessly. More importantly, the longer she observed, the more she felt they bore a striking resemblance to Fu Yanli when he was a child. She quietly pulled Fu Yanli aside and subtly asked, "Son, have you ever accidentally made a mistake?" Fu Yanli was puzzled. "Mom, what exactly are you referring to?" "So, have you ever, I mean accidentally, gotten drunk outside and had the possibility of a one-night stand with someone?" "Mom, how little do you trust your son's character? How could I do such a thing?" "Son, you have no idea how much Xiao Jing and Yu resemble you when you were little, especially Xiao Jing. It's like you two were carved from the same mold," Ji Yupan said, afraid her son wouldn't believe her. "Honey, isn't that right?" Fu Ledong pondered for a moment. "Indeed, they do look quite like you when you were young." "Son, try to remember," Fu Yanli said leisurely. "Mom, instead of suspecting me of having a one-night stand, you might as well suspect Jiang Yao secretly had a child behind my back. That seems more believable." Mentioning Jiang Yao, Ji Yupan's face showed nothing but regret as she looked at her son with exasperation. "Such a wonderful girl, and you didn't know how to cherish her. You drove her away, and now even we can't see her anymore." Afraid she would grow angrier the more she thought about it, Ji Yupan turned and went to find the 2 little ones instead. "Kids are so adorable. When they grow up, they just know how to annoy people." Ji Yupan and Fu Ledong stayed here until the afternoon before leaving. After seeing them off, Jiang Jing and Jiang Yu also said they were going home. Fu Yanli was worried about the 2 kids going back alone, so he accompanied them to their building. Fu Yanli lives in Building 9, while they live in Building 5, which isn't too far apart. After Fu Yanli saw them to the entrance of Building 5, Xiao Jing and Yu waved goodbye to him before heading upstairs. Jiang Yao happened to arrive downstairs in her Ferrari SF90. "Cow, why is Fu Yanli here? Living in the same neighborhood as my ex-husband is so inconvenient." Gigi was asleep in her passenger seat. At this moment, Gigi slept peacefully. The classic red Ferrari, both flamboyant and handsome. Fu Yanli naturally noticed this eye-catching car. Jiang Yao had originally thought Fu Yanli would leave quickly, so she planned to wait for him to go first. However, to her surprise, Fu Yanli unhurriedly took a cigarette from his case and lit it with a lighter. He stood there, his posture upright, his expression inscrutable and profound, his deep eyes fixed intently in Jiang Yao's direction. Although Jiang Yao clearly knew that it was impossible to see her and her daughter inside the car from outside the window, an inexplicable panic still surged uncontrollably in her heart. She tried to step on the accelerator and drive away, leaving behind this place that made her uneasy. At that very moment, Fu Yanli actually began walking toward her car. He approached slowly, curled 2 fingers, and gently tapped on the driver's side window. Jiang Yao had no choice but to turn off the engine, took a deep breath, and then exhaled slowly. Immediately after, she opened the car door, stepped out, and said with a smile, "Long time no see, ex-husband. How did you know it was me?" Her smile was bright and radiant, as if nothing was amiss. But Fu Yanli keenly sensed the tension hidden beneath her seemingly calm expression. He narrowed his eyes slightly, flicked away the cigarette but he had just extinguished, and replied, "This car was a gift from your brother when we got married. How could I not recognize it? What a good memory." At that time, Jiang Yuji said the car's color was festive. Someone in the passenger seat. Fu Yanli's eyes turned cold. "Afraid I'll see." Jiang Yao remained silent, turning her head away to avoid his gaze. "There really is someone, and it's your daughter. Won't you let him come down and say hello?" "What kind of man are you hiding like this?" His tone was disdainful. With these words, Jiang Yao knew that Fu Yanli thought there was a man sitting in her passenger seat. "No, our relationship is too awkward. It's better we don't meet." Fu Yanli's lips curled slightly as he let out a mocking laugh. He raised both arms, bracing them on either side of Jiang Yao. Trapped between him and the car, Jiang Yao could feel the man's breath dangerously close. "What are you doing?" Jiang Yao pushed him away forcefully. Fu Yanli bent down and whispered in her ear, his warm breath brushing against her skin, making the two of them look like an intimate couple. "That is, if one didn't hear the words he was saying, seems like your new man isn't much of a catch. He doesn't even react when you're this close to your ex-husband." Fu Yanli gazed into her eyes. "Jiang Yao, maybe you should consider whether he's with you for ulterior motives." Chapter 25, Taking Su Jinyu as a disciple, none of your business. Jiang Yao's expression instantly turned cold, not to mention there were no other men around her, but even if there were, so what? They were already divorced. What right did he have to meddle in such trivial matters? Fu Yanli silently withdrew his hand and took a step back, instantly creating distance between the two who had been close just moments before. "Do as you please," he said, his voice cold yet tinged with a hint of resignation. Jiang Yao lifted her eyelids and gave him a faint glance. In the depths of Fu Yanli's narrow, indifferent eyes, there now lay a darkness as deep as ink. Since that incident, Jiang Yao has become much more cautious whenever she goes out or returns home, afraid of running into Fu Yanli again. However, to everyone's surprise, in the following days, Jiang Yao truly never encountered him again. During this period, Gigi had been studying very happily and joyfully under Shen Qingxi's guidance. Shen Qingxi even expressed a desire to host a special banquet for Gigi, formally introducing his adorable little apprentice to the industry. She logged into her long-neglected Weibo account and posted a brief update, "Taking on my last apprentice in the year of knowing my destiny." Not wanting Gigi to be overly exposed to the media, Shen Qingxi did not explicitly reveal who this apprentice was. Yet, this simple statement was like dropping a massive boulder into a calm lake, instantly stirring up towering waves. "Wow, Master Shen is actually taking on another disciple. I wonder who's so lucky to become her student." Comments like these started appearing frequently under Shen Qingxi's Weibo posts. "So envious, there are only a few young talents in the industry. Let me guess who it is. If that's the case, could it be my dear Yubao? Haha." Certain fans shouldn't jump to conclusions. Would Master Shen even look her way? Watch your mouth. My Yubao is beautiful inside and out, talented and skilled. What's not to like? Exactly. Speaking of which, I remember Yaya posted a photo with Master Shen on Weibo a few days ago, didn't she? No way. Holy shit. Is it really Yaya? My little Yaya has made it big. Being able to become Master Shen's disciple is such a prestigious honor. Who dares to say Yaya lacks talent now? The rumors online were spreading like wildfire, and many of Su Jinyue's fans took them as truth. Quite a few even left congratulatory messages under her Weibo posts. At the same time, Su Jinyue's manager, Zheng Hao, called her, "Jinyu, is it true what they're saying online about Shen Qingxi taking on a disciple? That disciple they're talking about, it's really you, isn't it?" Su Jinyu herself was actually bewildered. She had never expected to become the center of public attention. The topic of who Shenqingxi's last apprentice was has sparked widespread discussion and gained considerable popularity. Brother Zheng, I just happened to run into teacher Shen at a coffee shop the other day and chatted with her for a bit. I really know nothing else about this, Su Jinyu explained helplessly. This whole situation is a mess. It wouldn't have mattered if it wasn't you. But now your fans have put you in this position. If it turns out not to be you in the end, wouldn't that be too awkward? Those haters will definitely say all sorts of nasty things. Jing Hao's tone was full of concern. Why don't you try to get some hints? That way, we can get a heads up and prepare our response in advance. By knowing the outcome in advance and arranging for hired commentators to steer the direction of the comments section, potential risks can be minimized to the greatest extent. I understand, Brother Zheng, Su Jinyu replied softly. In fact, Su Jinyu had indeed once considered apprenticing herself to Shenqingxi. However, she was tactfully rejected by the other party. Given Su Jinyu's personality, she naturally wouldn't persist stubbornly, so the matter was left unresolved. However, just a few days ago, when Su Jinyu coincidentally encountered Shenqingxi, she took the initiative to approach and converse with him. Surprisingly, the other party's attitude was quite friendly. Could it be that he truly intended to take her as his disciple? Just as Su Jinyu was pondering this to herself, a sudden ringtone from her phone interrupted her thoughts. An unfamiliar number was displayed on the screen. After a moment's hesitation, Su Jinyu decided to answer the call. Is this Miss Su Jinyu? A strange man's voice came from the other end of the phone. Yes. This is Su Jinyu. May I ask who's speaking? The voice was completely unfamiliar to her. I'm Song Wenche, the man introduced himself. Hearing the name Song Wenche, Su Jinyu's voice couldn't help but tremble slightly. Oh, it's Mr. Song. May I ask what you're calling about, Song Wench? This name is practically a household one within the circle. The reason Su Jinyu was so excited was precisely because she knew Song Wench was Shenqingxi's grandson, at this very moment. The reason for Song Wench's call needed no further explanation. The answer was already on the tip of their tongues. The man's lips curled slightly into a faint smile as he said softly, I've specially invited Miss Su to attend the banquet in a few days. I sincerely hope you'll grace us with your presence. Hearing these words, Su Jinyu's heart suddenly raced. As if it were about to leap out of her throat, she took a deep breath, trying to steady herself, then cautiously asked, May I ask what this is about? Despite her utmost effort to suppress the turmoil within, the slight tremor in her voice still couldn't completely conceal the surging emotions she felt at that moment. However, Song Wenche didn't directly answer her question, simply saying, You'll know when you get there, alright? I understand, Mr. Song. Thank you very much for the invitation. Su Jinyu tried her best to keep her tone calm. You're welcome, Song Wenche replied politely. After hanging up the phone, Su Jinyu couldn't suppress the excitement and thrill in her heart. Becoming Shenqingxi's disciple had always been her childhood aspiration and dream. Now, even though she has already stepped into the entertainment industry, being able to fulfill such a once seemingly unattainable dream remains an immensely joyful thing for her. More importantly, as Shenqingxi's disciple, the reputation and influence brought by this identity will undoubtedly hold significant value. By then, it will surely attract another wave of fans. Meanwhile, on the other side, Song Wench dialed Jiang Yao's phone number. I've completed the task as you requested. Song Wenchua reported the situation to her in detail. Jiang Yao said mischievously, Thank you, Song the Great Trickster. What mischief are you up to? Song Wenchua asked, even if Jiang Yao didn't say it. He could guess. Jiang Yao scoffed lightly. Would you really not see through such a simple trick of mine? Didn't expect you to be quite the troublemaker. Did you have some grudge against her? Song Wenchen, afraid Jiang Yao wouldn't want to hear Su Jinyu's name, used her instead, just because I can't stand her. Is that reason enough? Fine. But don't forget the condition you promised me. I won't forget. Jiang Yao felt displeased with Su Jinyu. As she was well aware that most of those remarks on Weibo years ago had likely come from Su Jinyu's hand, however, back then, she neither had the time nor the energy to retaliate. But now, with a perfect opportunity right in front of her, Jiang Yao would never let it slip away easily. During the interview, the reporter was specifically arranged to ask Su Jinyu this question. Faced with the inquiry, Su Jinyu did not respond directly, only smiling and saying, "Just wait for my good news." Immediately after, Jiang Yao spent money to launch a large-scale promotional campaign online. Such a spectacle led everyone to mistakenly believe that Su Jinyu was about to become Shen Qingshi's disciple. Our Yubao is just too low-key. If it were anyone else, they probably couldn't wait to boast about it before the official announcement. Someone as humble as Ye is truly rare in the entertainment industry. The title of Little Piano Princesses is truly well-deserved. Chapter 26. Public embarrassment. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, the day of the banquet arrived. This day was special for everyone. But for Gigi, it was even more so, because she was the undisputed little star of today's banquet. Jiang Yao had specially chosen a D-brand pink princess dress for the little princess, adorned with delicate lace and sparkling crystal sequins, making Gigi look as sweet and adorable as a fairy tale princess. Meanwhile, Yu and Xiaojing wore dashing little suits. Standing on either side of Gigi like two brave knights guarding their princess, Jiang Yao herself wore an elegant gown in the same color palette as Gigi's dress. The dress's clean and sophisticated cut perfectly accentuated her slender figure. Today is a very important day. There might be many strangers at the scene, but you three mustn't be afraid, Jiang Yao gently reminded the children, preparing them mentally in advance. Perhaps because they had been exposed to various grand occasions since childhood under Jiang Yao's guidance, the three little ones not only showed no stage fright but were even unusually excited about such an event. My goodness, how can my goddaughter be so adorable? She's simply a living, breathing little princess. Yuan Jia was so excited that she immediately pulled Gigi into her arms and gave her rosy little cheeks a firm squeeze. Shen Qingshi was dressed in a navy blue cheongsam today. With an elegant pearl necklace around her neck, her silver-white hair was neatly coiled at the back of her head, exuding an air of noble elegance. Su Jinyu was dressed in her finest attire today. As soon as she saw Shen Qingshi appear, she immediately went up to greet her with a radiant smile. "Professor Shen." A hint of confusion flashed in Shen Qingshi's eyes as she asked, "And you are?" Su Jinyu sensed something was amiss. "I'm Su Jinyu, Teacher Shen. Isn't today your disciple acceptance banquet?" So Shen Qingshi, though not deeply familiar with her, still responded politely, "I hope you enjoy yourself." "Something's wrong," Su Jinyu frowned. "But didn't you plan to?" The words "take me as your disciple" stuck in her throat, unable to come out. Yuan Jia saw through her at a glance. "Oh, Miss Su, you couldn't possibly think you're the disciple Teacher Shen is going to take, could you?" Yuan Jia said. "Looks like the netizens' teasing got to you." Miss Su took it seriously. "But, Mr. Song called me. He invited me here," Su Jinyu said, looking around for Song Wenji's figure. Song Wenj stepped forward. "I never said my grandmother intended to take Miss Su as her disciple. I merely invited Miss Su to attend this banquet." At this point, how could Su Jinyu not understand? She had been set up. Su Jinyu clenched the hem of her dress tightly, her gaze sweeping the surroundings. Everyone nearby had noticed the commotion. Su Jinyu recognized some of them. People who held significant positions in various industries. The looks they gave her seemed to say, how could this person be so overconfident? Shame flooded her entire body. Turning her head, Su Jinyu saw Jiang Yao. Their eyes met. Jiang Yao remained composed and calm, while in contrast, she became the laughingstock of the entire banquet. She couldn't bear the humiliation of making a fool of herself in front of Jiang Yao, like a complete loser. In her presence, Su Jinyu felt even more ashamed. She refused to lose to Jiang Yao in any aspect, even though Fu Yanli had already divorced her. Su Jinyue's eyes reddened as she turned and ran away from the banquet. Hearing Su Jinyue's words, Shen Qingshi naturally understood that her appearance was undoubtedly connected to Song Wenji. She gave her grandson a reproachful look. Not wanting to speak bluntly in public, Shen Qingshi smiled and took Gigi's hand. "Please excuse the earlier unpleasant incident. Let me formally introduce everyone. This is Jiang Ji, the youngest and last disciple I will be taking. I hope you'll all look out for her." On an occasion like today, all of Shen Qingshi's disciples were present. They shared one common trait. They were all exceptionally good-looking. Jiang Yao even suspected that looks might also be one of Master Shen's criteria for taking disciples. A crowd had gathered around Shen Qingshi and Gigi. So Jiang Yao stepped back and joined Yuan Jiao at the bar for a drink. Yu and Xiaojing were enjoying some small desserts. Miss, might I have the honor of making your acquaintance? A man suddenly appeared before Jiang Yao's eyes, seemingly of mixed heritage, with slightly brown, wavy hair and features more pronounced than those of an average Asian. You are truly beautiful. Standing out in the crowd, the man continued to speak. Any woman would likely feel a sense of delight upon hearing such compliments, and Jiang Yao was no exception. Moreover, unlike the gazes of other men, which were often filled with undisguised desire, this man's eyes instead revealed a genuine sincerity. Thank you for your kind words. My name is Jiang Yao. Jiang Yao replied with a smile. It's a great pleasure to meet such a charming Miss Jiang. My name is Lucine. The man introduced himself. Hearing this name, Jiang Yao felt a sense of déjà vu. At that moment, Yuan Jiao quietly approached her and whispered, I won't disturb you too. He's really incredibly handsome in person. Then she mischievously flashed Jiang Yao a smile before turning to leave. Only after Yuan Jiao had left did Jiang Yao suddenly remember who Lucien was. He was currently a top-tier celebrity and one of Shen Qingshi's most prized disciples. Discovered by a talent scout, he rose to fame overnight after starring as the male lead in a piano-themed movie. Thanks to his solid skills and papa-like good looks, Xiaojing looked calmly at the unfamiliar man chatting up her mother. The beauty appeared somewhat aloof. Lucien carefully observed Xiaojing and Yu. Noticing some resemblance to Jiang Yao, he couldn't help but exclaim, these two little ones must be your younger brothers. Right, you all look so much alike. Jiang Yao slightly raised her eyebrows, a hint of playful smile at the corners of her lips. Do you think they're my younger brothers? Are they not? Surely they can't be your sons. Lucine couldn't help but chuckle softly, as if the very idea was absurd. Jiang Yao took a gentle sip from her glass, a fleeting trace of amusement glimmering in her eyes. Don't they look alike? She asked softly. Miss Jiang is so young. How could she possibly have two children this big? Lucien shook his head. Unable to believe it, Jiang Yao nodded with a smile, agreeing with his statement. You're absolutely right. But I'm not lying to you. Lucien's smile froze instantly on his face. He widened his eyes in disbelief and asked, You really have two children? But Jiang Yao shook her head. Lucien thought to himself with relief. Thank goodness. I was just saying. Given your age, however, before he could finish his sentence, Jiang Yao interrupted him bluntly. You're mistaken. I actually have more than two children. I also have a lovely daughter over there. She pointed towards Gigi in the crowd, her eyes filled with tenderness and affection. Xiao Jing and Yu obediently called out Mom to Jiang Yao. They've encountered this situation many times before. Lucien remained silent for a long while, his mouth opening and closing as he stammered, After what felt like an eternity, he finally found his voice again. I'm sorry, that was inappropriate just now. Frustrated, he ruffled his own mop of brown curls. Yes, although Lucien loves beautiful women, he is also a man of principle. He would never flirt with women who are already married. It's fine, Jiang Yao replied in a calm tone. She was well aware of her own beauty. Not only were many men interested in her, but even quite a few women would cast admiring glances her way. Moreover, the few words Lucien just said could hardly be considered offensive. Your husband is very lucky to have such a beautiful wife, Lucien remarked sincerely. Hearing this, Jiang Yao couldn't help but frown. Thank you for the compliment, but I must correct you. I don't have a husband, I'm already divorced. Upon hearing this, Lucien's eyes instantly brightened. Those already large puppy dog eyes now fixed intently on Jiang Yao, unable to conceal his excitement. Then he truly doesn't know what's good for him, utterly mistaking fish eyes for pearls. Failing to appreciate the blessing right in front of him, since Lucien had lived abroad for over a decade since childhood before returning to China, his Chinese proficiency is quite good, allowing him to communicate normally. However, he still makes minor mistakes when using certain idioms. It should be having eyes but failing to see, right? Jiang Yao corrected. Well, I agree with what you said. Fu Yanli is such a big fool who has eyes but fails to see, Miss Jiang. We truly have a wonderful connection. Your daughter will soon be my junior sister. I even prepared a gift for her today. With that, Lucine took out a velvet box and opened it. Inside lay a crown, crafted with natural pearls, old cut diamonds, and designed as a wreath of myrtle leaves, set with cushion-shaped old single rose-cut diamonds and natural pearls. Jiang Yao could tell at a glance that it was priceless, not just in monetary value, but also in rarity, likely one of a kind in the world. No. This isn't appropriate, Jiang Yao declined. Miss Jiang, this was prepared for my junior sister. Even if you're her mother, I don't think you can refuse it on her behalf, Lu Xin said firmly. You don't need to feel burdened, as this is a gift I've had ready for a long time. Even if it weren't for Gigi, I would have given this gift to someone else. Thank you. After Lu Xin's words, Jiang Yao had no choice but to accept it. Chapter 27, Drugged with Aphrodisiac. You're so adorable. Sweetheart, Gigi, you must remember to miss your auntie. Okay, little Jing and Yu, my two handsome boys, come play with auntie next time. After the banquet, a group of people were reluctant to part with Gigi, such a delicate, well-mannered little girl, who wouldn't adore her. After saying goodbye to them, Jiang Yao wanted to take the three little ones and leave. She had drunk quite a bit and was feeling a bit dizzy. Shen Qingxi called out to her. You've been drinking and won't be able to take good care of them when you get back. Why not stay at my place for the night? My grandmother is right, it's quite far from your place. Probably an hour's journey, and the kids must be exhausted after a long day. Song Wench agreed. Jingyo glanced at the time. It was indeed late, and they would usually be asleep by now. Jingyo noticed Yo-Yo letting out a small yawn. All right, then we'll trouble you. Jiang Yao gave the three little ones a quick wash and then carried them to the guest room at Shen Qingxi's house. They fell asleep quickly. After the three little ones had fallen asleep, Jiang Yao said to Shen Qingxi, Grandma Shen, I'm sorry to trouble you. They're already asleep, and I'll come to pick them up tomorrow. Aren't you staying? It's too late now. Shen Qingxi urged her to stay. No, I'd rather go back and sleep. She didn't have any change of clothes here. So Jiang Yao decided to return. Shen Qingxi didn't insist on keeping her. Then be careful on your way back. Drink this hangover soup first. Shen Qingxi had boiled apples and oranges together, adding honey at the end. Song Wenchao had been drinking, so he couldn't drive her home. Jiang Yao couldn't drive either, so she called for a designated driver. The driver was a young, clean-cut guy. Jiang Yao got into the back seat, gave him the address, and then closed her eyes to rest. This car isn't cheap, is it? The driver struck up a conversation. Jiang Yao was driving a pure white Maserati today. Not bad, Jiang Yao replied in a flat tone, showing little interest. The man driving glanced at Jiang Yao through the mirror. Her slender figure and glowing fair skin were impossible to ignore. He couldn't help but swallow hard, his eyes betraying a raw, undisguised desire. This woman is not only beautiful but also wealthy. Miss Jiang, you can sleep if you're tired. I'll wake you when we arrive. Jiang Yao suddenly opened her eyes and looked up at the rearview mirror, meeting the man's gaze before he could look away. Jiang Yao's arms broke out in goosebumps. How disgusting. The man's gaze was undisguised. Jiang Yao sensed something was wrong. She steadied herself and said, okay. Her hand quietly reached for her phone, pressing the side power button 5 times in quick succession. How much longer until we arrive? Jiang Yao asked. Women are naturally at a slight disadvantage in terms of physical strength compared to men, especially since she's had too much to drink. She had to stabilize him before help arrived. The man replied, almost there. Jiang Yao's heart was pounding wildly, a cold sweat breaking out on her back. She realized this wasn't the way home. Just then, the man suddenly stopped the car without warning. He turned to look at Jiang Yao, his eyes filled with teasing and ambiguity. It's so late already. Why are you out here alone? Don't you feel lonely by yourself? Faced with this sudden question, Jiang Yao's heart tightened, but she managed to maintain her composure, forcing a faint smile as she replied, what do you mean by that? However, before Jiang Yao could react, the man's hand had already reached out, shamelessly resting on her thigh and giving it a slight caress. In that instant, Jiang Yao felt an unusual sensation, while the man marveled inwardly at the smooth and delicate texture of her skin beneath his palm. Despite the intense wave of disgust churning inside her, Jiang Yao clenched her teeth, desperately suppressing the urge to vomit. Speak, what exactly do you want? Jiang Yao took a deep breath, steadied herself, and coldly demanded, hearing Jiang Yao's question. A lewd smile spread across the man's face, his once somewhat handsome features now appeared utterly repulsive under that vulgar expression. Sister, let me help you, I promise I can make you feel ecstasy, so pleasured you won't be able to resist, is that so? Jiang Yao's lips curled slightly, revealing unconcealed disdain and scorn, seemingly provoked by Jiang Yao's attitude. The man's expression abruptly darkened, the smile that had been plastered on his face vanished in an instant. Replaced by a visage twisted with malice and rage, he quickly pulled out a small medicine bottle from his pocket and deftly unscrewed the cap. Jiang Yao looked closely and saw several strangely colored red pills inside the bottle. Faced with these unknown drugs, Jiang Yao's heart was filled with fear and confusion. Her face grew increasingly pale, and she involuntarily shrank back toward the corner of the train compartment. The abrupt ringing of the phone pierced the silence. The man's gaze was instantly drawn to it, and Jiang Yao saw the caller ID, Jiang Yuji. Don't you dare answer, the man roared, unless you want to die, see if I can act faster than he can find you. The phone rang unanswered until the call was eventually dropped. He leaned in, half his body stretching over, his hands gripping Jiang Yao's chin. He forced the medicine bottle into her mouth, only releasing his grip after confirming she had swallowed some of the medicine. Be obedient. And you won't suffer. Okay, I'll obey, I'll do whatever you say. A teardrop hung precariously at the corner of Jiang Yao's eye, trembling yet unyielding, creating a beauty that was both pitifully fragile and stubbornly resilient. The man smirked triumphantly, his hand resting on his zipper as he prepared to pull it down. Jiang Yao interrupted. Could you come to the back? This position isn't convenient. Quite the quick learner. Wait till Big Brother shows you a good time. The man yanked open the car door, eagerly scrambling toward the back seat. In those few seconds before the man could open the rear door, Jiang Yao decisively lunged for the driver's seat and pressed a button on the control panel beside her. The doors locked. Unable to open the door, the man finally realized he'd been tricked. He kicked the car hard and snarled, "You bitch, daring to mess with me, you'd better wise up." The phone rang again. Jiang Yao immediately answered, "Help me, save me." Her body began to show unusual symptoms, with an inexplicable restlessness and heat spreading through her. It was because of that drug from earlier. Jiang Yao, I'm almost there, wait for me. Fu Yanli patiently reassured her. He's outside, I'm in the car now. Fu Yanli, hurry up, I'm begging you. The man outside began smashing the car windows with a wooden stick he picked up from the roadside. Fu Yanli's heart twisted in agony. Jiang Yao had never been this vulnerable before. His eyes burned with fury, his face as cold as ice, each breath restraining the explosion within. Even so, his tone remained steady as he spoke. Don't be afraid, keep the call on, I'm almost there. Jiang Yao forced herself to pull out a pair of scissors from the storage compartment under the center console. Gripping them tightly in her hand, the car window shattered, and Jiang Yao shuddered in fear. You bitch, still daring to lock the door, I'll fucking kill you. Tears kept falling from Jiang Yao's eyes, her face flushed red from the effects of the medicine. Don't hold back, beg me nicely later. The man reached in and unlocked it. This time, the car door opened smoothly. You made me waste so much time. How should I punish you? The man was about to pounce on Jiang Yao. At that moment, a gunshot rang out. Chapter 28. Going back to cook. Scalding blood sprayed onto the back seat of the car, also splashing onto Jiang Yao's evening gown. She watched as the man collapsed weakly to the ground. Fu Yanli strode over quickly and pulled open the car door on Jiang Yao's side. Jiang Yao tilted her head slightly, her face glistening with traces of moisture, her eyes brimming with a sense of utter brokenness. So fragile it was heartbreaking. Fu Yanli frowned slightly as he drew Jiang Yao into his embrace, pressing her against his chest. His large hand gently stroked her back, over and over, with tender care. I'm here, don't be afraid. Be good, let go of the scissors. Fu Yanli coaxed softly. Jiang Yao's hand loosened. Fu Yanli took the opportunity to toss the scissors to the ground. Jiang Yao's face nuzzled against his chest, her hands restlessly moving about. What's wrong? Fu Yanli bent down to look at her. The woman's face was flushed, and she let out an involuntary moan. She fumbled helplessly with the buttons on Fu Yanli's shirt, trying to undo them. Only then did Fu Yanli realize that Jiang Yao was not in her right state. Fu Yanli, don't take advantage of my sister. Jiang Yuji rushed over angrily. Yao Yao, come home with your brother. Fu Yanli looked at Jiang Yuji calmly. Former brother-in-law. Qin Qin tactfully stepped back, not wanting to disturb his boss and the former brother-in-law. Jiang Yuji only realized upon getting closer that it seemed the opposite was true. The one taking advantage was his own younger sister. Fu Yanli was the one being taken advantage of. Fu Yanli merely held her, while Jiang Yao buried herself against him, her hands wandering all over. Jiang Yuji was momentarily at a loss for words. She must have been drugged. Hearing Fu Yanli's words, Jiang Yuji was consumed with rage. He looked at the man lying on the ground and kicked him several times with all his might. Jiang Yao squirmed uncomfortably. Although Jiang Yuji disliked Fu Yanli, letting him take his sister away was the most appropriate solution under the circumstances. He scratched his head, somewhat embarrassed. You take Yao Yao to a hotel?" Fu Yanli nodded. "I'll call someone to handle it." He bent down and scooped Jiang Yao into his arms, then carried her to the back seat of his car. Qin Qin took the driver's seat and started the car. Jiang Yuji viciously kicked the man on the ground again. Fu Yanli raised the partition in the middle of the car and wrapped Jiang Yao's body with his coat. Jiang Yao was completely enveloped by the man's cool, refreshing scent. She felt as if a fire was burning within her, growing hotter and fiercer, so hot, so unbearably hot, restless. She writhed against Fu Yanli's body, her plump, rounded hips brushing against his sensitive areas, as if craving something more. Fu Yanli was provoked by her rubbing, the veins on his forehead bulging as he returned, filled with the woman's sweet fragrance. "Give it to me, give it to me," the woman cried and fussed, her delicate, fair hands wandering over the man's body, eagerly trying to tear away the obstructive clothes, longing for bare intimacy. "Baby, be good." Fu Yanli restrained her hands. He raised his voice. "Qin Qin, to the hospital. You're bullying me. You're bullying me too." Jiang Yao sobbed tearfully, her eyes glazed as she looked at the man. "I'm not bullying you," Fu Yanli whispered soothingly in her ear. "Just wait a little longer, okay?" Jiang Yao wouldn't listen. Boldly, she straddled his lap, wrapped her arms around his neck, and bent down to suck on his Adam's apple, her tongue flicking over it. Fu Yanli's Adam's apple tightened. Desire overpowered reason as he lifted Jiang Yao's chin. He fiercely sealed her lips, his tongue delving deep into her mouth, savoring the sweetness within. The car came to a stop, and Qin Qin hesitantly said, "President Fu, we've arrived at the hospital." Then he walked away to smoke in the distance. Fu Yanli pulled away, creating distance between himself and Jiang Yao. "Be good, let's see the doctor first. I'll give it to you after the checkup, okay?" Tears welled up at the corners of Jiang Yao's eyes. "Promise me." No sounds later, no fussing. Fu Yanli brushed his lips against hers. "Or else I won't give it to you." Jiang Yao nodded helplessly. Fu Yanli buttoned up his suit jacket, ensuring she was completely covered before carrying her out. Fu Yanli carried her with practiced ease into an office. "Gu Bai, she's been drugged with an aphrodisiac, examine her." Gu Bai looked at him teasingly, raising an eyebrow. "Brother Fu, are you a ninja? What exactly do you expect me to examine in this situation?" Fu Yanli was displeased. "You're a doctor. If you can't examine her, what's the point? Go home and inherit the family business." TSK, Gu Bai walked over to Fu Yanli's side, pretending to examine Jiang Yao for a few moments. "Well, I've finished checking. The solution is, you two can go cook now." Fu Yanli asked seriously, "Won't it affect her health? If you're worried, come to the hospital for a checkup after you're done." Fu Yanli picked her up and turned to leave, muttering "Quack doctor" as he went. Fu Yanli instructed Qin Qin to drive to a nearby hotel. "President Fu, your suite has been cleaned and is ready for you. Please let us know if you need anything." The manager guided him all the way to the presidential suite on the top floor. This hotel is owned by the Fu Group, and this room is exclusively reserved for Fu Yanli, fully equipped with everything he might need. Qin Qin had made arrangements in advance, and the suite had already been prepared. The scented candle was lit, and rose petals were scattered on the bed. Jiang Yao grew restless again. Fu Yanli held her down and stripped off her blood-stained evening gown. Freed from constraints, her naked body appeared even more luminous and alluring under the light. Fu Yanli's breath hitched, the suppressed desire resurfacing once more. He awkwardly averted his gaze, helplessly glancing at the reaction below. Just one look and, how pathetic. Fu Yanli pressed Jiang Yao onto the sofa, instructing her to sit still. He went to draw the bath water, testing the temperature, finding the water just right. He turned it off and went to carry Jiang Yao over, but then a scorching body pressed against his back. I'm hot, Jiang Yao murmured unconsciously. Fu Yanli picked up Jiang Yao and placed her in the bathtub. Be good, let's wash up first. Fu Yanli carefully applied shower gel to her body. Jiang Yao restlessly tried to strip off his clothes. In the water, Jiang Yao stood completely naked before him, while the man remained impeccably dressed in his suit. With only his shirt slightly wrinkled at the front. No more touching for you. Jiang Yao slapped his hand away with a sharp sound. Water splashed up, landing on Fu Yanli's face. Fine, I'll take it off myself. The two finally stood bare before each other. A mischievous smile curled at Jiang Yao's lips as she guided Fu Yanli's hand to rest upon her full curves. As if rewarding him, Fu Yanli naturally didn't hold back as he needed. He couldn't help but swallow hard. The woman in the bathtub had skin like congealed fat, flushed a delicate pink, her slightly parted red lips and eyes shimmering with ripples like autumn water, her jet-black hair clinging damply to her chest. An indescribable allure. Beneath the water, her skin was as sinuous and enchanting as a water snake's. Fu Yanli ached with restraint. Chapter 29. Here, it's all yours. The bathtub, once filled to the brim with water, had somehow been drained. A small boat rocked unsteadily. Rising and falling with the sea's rhythm, battered by the waves, it let out a shattered, mournful cry. The small boat still had to steer its own course, rising and falling on the sea, drifting like duckweed. Jiang Yao was both joyful and tormented, her long nails leaving one mark after another on Fu Yanli's back. A muffled groan escaped Fu Yanli's throat. He gripped Jiang Yao's slender waist tightly. Darling, it's all for you. The delicate flower trembled in the storm. Fu Yanli picked him up and carried him to the bed. The room was filled with passion. Until dawn, the man and woman, who had indulged all night, finally fell asleep in each other's arms. The absurd consequence was an all-over body ache. Jiang Yao's legs were splayed wide open, almost unable to close. She struggled to get up, supporting her waist. Alone in the room, Jiang Yao looked around. Fu Yanli was nowhere to be seen. She grabbed the nearby robe and wrapped it around her body. Her body was already a sight, covered densely in marks. Fu Yanli, that bastard, turning your back on someone so quickly. Miss Jiang. Fu Yanli leaned against the doorway, draped in a black silk robe. The robe was loosely tied, revealing a pale chest with strikingly visible red marks. They were even more pronounced than the ones on Jiang Yao herself. Jiang Yao's face flushed, and she averted her gaze. Fu Yanli's eyes and brows exuded a sense of satisfaction, looking utterly languid. Who was the one clinging to me last night, refusing to let go? I would have stopped, but did you allow it? Fu Yanli's voice was teasing. Jiang Yao knew she was in the wrong. Her emergency contacts were set to 4 people, her parents, Jiang Yuji, and Fu Yanli. She had set it up years ago and never changed it. If Fu Yanli hadn't arrived in time last night, she wouldn't dare to imagine what might have happened. Jiang Yao, her face pale, glanced at Fu Yanli and whispered, "Thank you. What did you say? I didn't hear you clearly." Fu Yanli leisurely looked at her, speaking in a casual tone. Jiang Yao grabbed a pillow and threw it in his direction. He's rotten to the core, inherently evil. During the time we were married, he disguised himself so well. Fu Yanli effortlessly caught the pillow, the corners of his lips curling into a faint smirk as he teased, "You're welcome. I'm more than happy to help with such matters. Feel free to call on me anytime." Jiang Yao smiled charmingly, her bright eyes fixed on him as she remarked, "Mr. Fu, you're getting older. Compared to before, you've fallen a bit short in terms of both hardness and stamina." After speaking, she meaningfully glanced at Fu Yanli's lower body. Fu Yanli's face darkened. Jiang Yao looked at his gloomy expression and smiled even more brightly. "But considering how hard you worked last night, even if there's no merit, there's effort. Hand over your phone." Jiang Yao held out her hand to him. Fu Yanli unlocked his phone and handed it to her. Jiang Yao opened his Alipay payment code and transferred 888 yuan to him. Fu Yanli listened as the mechanical voice announcing Alipay payment received. 888 yuan echoed through the empty room. He scoffed, walked up to Jiang Yao, and grabbed her wrist. "Too much. I'll give you another chance. He was about to press down as he spoke. Hey, no, get away from me. Jiang Yao struggled and accidentally pulled her thigh. Ouch. Fu Yanli nervously tried to look down. Last night, did it hurt you? As he spoke, he tried to pull her legs apart to check. Jiang Yao immediately closed her legs and pushed Fu Yanli away. No, you're not allowed to look. Then I'll owe you this time. And make it up to you later. Who wants you to make it up? Fu Yanli didn't respond, just patted her bottom. Get up and eat. Yeah, Jiang Yao responded absent-mindedly. The waiter set out the breakfast and then left. Jiang Yao was starving and thoroughly enjoyed the meal. Fu Yanli received a phone call halfway through his breakfast. You eat first. He walked aside to answer the phone. Chin reported from the other end. We found a medicine bottle in the car. It seems the lady was fed this drug. It's a potent aphrodisiac. That is, Chin felt somewhat awkward but continued. Afterwards, there will be a period of heightened sexual desire, but it doesn't cause much harm to the body. So Mr. Fu needn't worry. Also, this man is a seasoned offender. He's often forced girls like this before and periodically changes wealthy women to support him. Fu Yanli's expression darkened instantly, his sharp eyes narrowing with a cold intensity. Leave him alive. Don't kill him, then send him to a mental hospital and lock him up for life. Understood, Chin responded. Jiang Yao had eaten her fill and was lazily sprawled on the sofa. Fu Yanli sat across from her, finished eating. Then let's talk. What do you want to talk about? Can you be more careful in the future? Can you have some sense of safety? How late is it to still be taking a ride? Don't you know to call someone to pick you up? Fu Yanli scolded her one sentence after another. What would have happened if he hadn't arrived in time? Fu Yanli's face grew colder, exuding an icy aura. Jiang Yao knew she hadn't been careful enough this time. But Fu Yanli's tone left her extremely displeased. What right do you have to lecture me? Stay out of it. In front of Fu Yanli, Jiang Yao's inherent petulance and willfulness unconsciously surfaced. Even if you hadn't come, Jiang Yuji would have arrived in time. Jiang Yao had vaguely heard her brother's voice in her dazed state last night. Fu Yanli scoffed lightly. Your brother can only save you. But what about the drug's effects? Who's going to relieve them for you? Jiang Yao hated that she couldn't out-argue him. My brother will definitely find me a man, one who's better, bigger, and lasts longer than you. Fu Yanli's eyes darkened as he stared at her intensely. Dragging her close, he gripped her mouth forcefully and growled. Daring to spout such nonsense. Do you still dare? Jiang Yao stubbornly turned her head away. Actually, she was just talking tough. Deep down, she knew it would be hard to find someone better than Fu Yanli. After all, last night, she had also enjoyed herself. By the way, did you take any precautions last night? Jiang Yao suddenly remembered. Fu Yanli denied it. I forgot. If you get pregnant, keep it. What? Don't want to have my child. Jiang Yao suddenly remembered what she had forgotten. Her 3 children were still with Shenqingxi. She stood up in a panic. Hurry, and have someone bring clothes over. Fu Yanli didn't move, so afraid of getting pregnant. Can't wait to take the medicine. Hurry up. Jiang Yao nudged him. Fu Yanli explained. I took precautions. You don't need to rush to buy medicine. Last night, in the heat of the moment, he used immense self-control to stop and reach for the baby-proof belt. Oh. Jiang Yao was taken aback for a moment before realizing Fu Yanli had misunderstood her intention to buy contraceptive pills. Not that, just hurry up and ask the front desk to send some clothes over, Fu Yanli said firmly. Stay here for now, you can't leave yet. What do you mean? Are you trying to keep me locked up? Jiang Yao said angrily. This is illegal. Chapter 30. Tonic for the son-in-law's kidneys. That medicine has side effects. Stay for 2 more days for observation. Fu Yanli didn't explain it to her clearly. What side effects? Fu Yanli glanced at her and said meaningfully, You'll find out. Jiang Yao was skeptical. She was a medical student. She didn't feel any physical reactions in her body, half believing and half doubting. Jiang Yao called Shenqingxi and asked her to take care of the child for a while, saying she would pick the child up in the evening. Shenqingxi readily agreed. Then she called her mother to report that she was safe and sound, and asked her to send someone to Shenqingxi's house in the evening to pick up the child, entrusting her to take care of the child for 2 days. After hanging up the phone, Shalan asked Jiang Yuji. They already knew about what happened last night. And only after learning that Fu Yanli had taken their daughter away did they feel relieved enough to sleep. Since their daughter was fine, why didn't they go to pick her up? And why leave her there for 2 more days? Has something happened? Shalan called her son over. Jiang Yuji, was your sister injured last night? Not that I know of, Jiang Yuji answered evasively. Shalan slammed the table. Tell me the truth. Shalan clearly didn't believe him. Really, it's nothing, Mom, don't worry about it. Shalan's heart sank as she buried her face in Jiang Tiancheng's shoulder. Honey, tell me, has Yao Yao gotten into serious trouble? My poor Yao Yao. She's had such a hard life. Don't think like that, dear. Jiang Tiancheng comforted his wife in a gentle voice. He turned his head with a stern face. You little brat, spit it out now. Jiang Yuji originally felt awkward discussing such matters with his parents, but they forced him to speak. Jiang Yuji had no choice but to say, actually, it's nothing serious. She was just drugged. Shalan suddenly looked up, her eyes blazing with anger. Drugged, and you say it's not serious? What counts as serious then? Does she have to end up in the ICU for it to be serious? No, I must go see my precious daughter. Shalan stood up in a panic, grabbed her bag, and was about to leave. Jiang Tiancheng quickly followed. Honey, wait for me. Seeing the situation escalate, Jiang Yuji hurriedly stood up and blocked his parents' path. There's no need for you to go check. It was an aphrodisiac that was slipped in. Being men, some things went without saying. They must have been exhausted last night. Who knows if they're even up yet or what they're doing now. Jiang Yuji never called his sister to ask about the situation. Oh, Shalan froze upon hearing her son's words, retracting the foot she had just stepped out with, and muttered, I see, you should have said so earlier, child. Then we really shouldn't disturb them, that damned bastard. Thank goodness Yao Yao is alright. Yanli is truly a good kid. Then it dawned on her. No wonder her daughter's voice sounded different from usual when she called earlier. So that was why. I'm really exhausted. Both of them are exhausted. Shalan acted swiftly and immediately asked the aunt to prepare a nourishing soup. Son, after it's done, take it to them. Jiang Yao in the hotel had been waiting for the aftermath. She wondered, what would be the aftermath of that thing? But soon enough, Jiang Yao found out. The previously subdued effects of the medicine surged back, the familiar sensation returning to her body as if it were last night. Jiang Yao bit her lip, suppressing the moan that threatened to escape. Fu Yanli sat on the balcony sofa, working on his laptop to handle documents. Jiang Yao took a bottle of ice water from the fridge, drank a few sips, hoping to quell the heat rising within her. But it was no use. The flames burned fiercer and fiercer, flowing through every limb and vein. She staggered into the bathroom, stepped into the shower, and turned on the faucet. Cold water poured from head to toe, drenching her entire body. Jiang Yao didn't even have time to take off her clothes. She slowly squatted down, hugging her knees, letting the icy water soak her beautiful hair and body. So this was the side effect Fu Yanli had mentioned. Am I going to be controlled by lust from now on? Fu Yanli turned around and noticed Jiang Yao was missing. A flicker of unease crossed his brow, prompting him to get up and look for her. Hearing the sound of running water from the bathroom, he pushed the door open and entered. There, he saw Jiang Yao crouched with her knees hugged to her chest, looking so small that it left a tiny dent in his heart. Yao Yao, Fu Yanli called softly in a low voice. As he reached out his hand, he was startled to find the water shockingly cold. Frowning, he turned off the shower. Don't come near me, don't touch me, Jiang Yao shouted sharply, her voice unusually piercing. Her voice was choked with sobs. I feel so terrible, woo woo woo. If you're feeling terrible, why didn't you come to me? I don't like being like this. I can hold it in. Just endure a little longer and it'll pass. Jiang Yao murmured to herself. I can do it. Fu Yanli met her gaze at eye level, cupping her face in his hands, his lips landing on her cheek. Damp, scorching, no need to hold back, just let it out and it'll be over. Jiang Yao could no longer restrain herself, throwing herself onto him and biting his neck. Fu Yanli lifted her up and moved to another spot. Fu Yanli reclined on the bed, while Jiang Yao had her back turned to him. There was a distance between the two of them. How long will this situation last? Her voice was muffled. It'll be fine in a few days. I'll stay with you during this time. Okay, the front desk called, and Fu Yanli answered. President Fu. There's someone named Jiang Yuji here to see you. Bring him up, Fu Yanli discussed with her. Your brother is here, you stay lying down, I'll go out. Jiang Yao was indeed in no condition to be seen like this. She remained silent, and Fu Yanli took it as tacit agreement. He grabbed his robe, put it on, and walked towards the living room. Jiang Yuji arrived carrying the soup his mother, Madame Shalan, had lovingly prepared for her precious daughter and son-in-law. Madame Shalan had repeatedly insisted that they must finish every last drop of the soup, even though Jiang Yuji was tempted by the aroma and wanted a bowl for himself. Madame Shalan shooed him away. Her exact words were, "Shoo, shoo, what good would it do you, if you drink it? You might get too nourished and end up with a nosebleed." Between the lines, it's all complaints about him not having a girlfriend. Jiang Yuji really wanted to say that he did have a girlfriend, but unfortunately, a certain heartless woman hadn't given her approval yet. The waiter led Jiang Yuji to the door of the presidential suite. Fu Yanli opened the door. Jiang Yuji entered. "Brother." Fu Yanli was the first to speak. Jiang Yuji noticed the undisguised satisfaction on Fu Yanli's face. Jiang Yuji said unhappily, "Who's your brother? Don't forget, you and Jiang Yao are already divorced." Fu Yanli nonchalantly sat down on the sofa. Jiang Yuji didn't notice Jiang Yao's absence and didn't ask about it. Simply saying on his own, "This is the soup my mom made for you. Drink it, it's to nourish your kidneys, to strengthen your body." Shalan's soup was stewed with ingredients like pigeon, abalone, cordyceps flowers, codonopsis root, goji berries, poria cocos, and oysters, making it extremely rich and nutritious. Fu Yanli raised an eyebrow and said with amusement, "Thank my mother-in-law for me. Is my sister doing okay?" "She's fine, resting now, then I'll be going." "Make sure to drink the soup." Jiang Yuji didn't want to stay any longer. He kept feeling an ambiguous tension lingering in the air. Thank you for watching. This is a full-length novel. If you'd like to see the continuation, please leave a comment saying looking forward to the next part or give the video a like. I'll update promptly based on your feedback. See you next time.